go.
Alright, we've done the thing.
Oh, I think we've done the thing. Hello, chat.
Chat. Hello.
How's it going?
Hope y'all are doing well today. Good morning to you, Robbo. Mr. Australia over here.
Yeah.
Almost not. Well, actually, it is nighttime for me now. It is actually sunset. And this man's just a good day outside.
Is 100% almost nighttime for me. So,
how is everyone's brewing going? Well, I will say that our channel's brewing has taken a stop for the moment because of Vegas, baby.
yep.
Reminder to everyone here, we are going to be in Las Vegas this week, starting on technically Thursday, but earliest availability will really be on Friday. So if you are going to be at MagicCon Las Vegas, come see us. We are going to be hanging out all weekend, just playing games, having fun.
Yep. I won't be there, but everybody else will.
Yeah, that one's not going to be there, unfortunately. We tried.
Well, I gave it my best shot.
We gave it at least one college try, maybe two.
Yep.
All right. Ready to jump into this?
All right, let's jump into it.
All right.
Boom.
For everyone, so you remember, this is the Zur Scale. Zur Scale is functionally a big tier list. We're evaluating all of these commanders. They have a power ranking from 0 to 10. The goal is to evaluate these commanders based on what they are doing and how their deck feels overall. Keeping in mind that this is for casual commander, not CEDH, there is a difference between like a suboptimal deck and a very optimized deck. So we do have two rankings for that. We're also rating them based on their support, flexibility, and the commander's the commander's power itself. And that rating has the highest influence on their overall rating.
Yeah. Assumptions, big assumptions are deck really needs to be built around the commander.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't just play... Specifically, there is one commander here that we can't just play a good stuff pile and call it really strong, even though it's probably still going to be decent, but...
Yeah. There's a couple of commanders where it's like, yeah, you can do a good stuff pile and it's still a potent deck, but, I mean, the commander's not contributing much to it, so... that you actually lose points by building around your commander, which is the point of what the Zur Scale is telling you.
Yep.
So, let's jump into our first commander with all the cards from WOE and Wilds of Eldraine Commander. There's 31 commanders in total, so some of these we'll move through a little bit quickly to make sure we get through at least 90% of them today.
Like this one. We're probably going to start this one quickly.
Probably a little bit quickly. Okay. Lord Skitter, Sewer King. 3 mana 3/3 that enters the battlefield or at the beginning of combat on your turn, makes a 1/1 rat, and whenever a rat enters the battlefield under your control, you exile a card from an opponent's graveyard. That's actually not too bad.
I like this card in the 99.
Mm-hmm.
But we have significantly better rat commanders.
Yes, so. If you're going to play rats, this is not the best rat commander. You're still looking at Ashcloud or Ashcoat and Maronar as I am very happy you pointed out. Yes, that is the main comparison I actually want to draw. Can we click on the EDA trick? So this is actually more like a 3-mana Jadar. And that's the real strength of this commander, is not as a rat's commander, but as an aristocrat's commander that just gets to make a rat every turn.
Yeah, so the unfortunate part is that we're still all in on the rats, baby.
Mm-hmm. We are still all in on the rats.
And the bat. Also, don't forget about the bat.
Yeah. I don't hate Lord Skitter, because, again, if you're trying to play this as rats, which is what the majority of people are doing, like, what is this percentage? It's like 90% of these decks?
Yeah.
Are just playing this as rats. But if you're playing this as aristocrats, I actually think you have a much better strategy. There is one big upside to playing Jadar, which is self-sacrificing tokens. Like, that's a surprisingly really important thing about Jadar. That those tokens can just kill themselves without needing a sacrifice outlet. Which makes Jadar significantly better. on the Zur Scale, we have Jadar as a 7, which may be a little high. Maybe Jadar should be a 6, but I think Jadar is still reasonable at a 7. So, do we need to do a split rating for Lord Skitter?
I think we have to do a split rating for Lord Skitter.
Okay.
Not that we need to, because the average deck is gonna be Rat Tribal. We already both know this.
Oh,
So-
absolutely. The average deck is 100% just rats. So, now the question becomes, well, how good rats?
What do we have Marinor at?
I think we have
4?
Marinar at a 4 or 5.
That's probably
Marinar is a
base-
4. Yeah, I'd put Skitter at a 3 then.
Yeah, baseline 3.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you split the rating, I think we can go to a 6.
Yeah, I think we can go to a 6.
I think you can actually get close. 5 or 6 is where I'm feeling for an optimized Lord Skitter.
Yeah.
Difference,
Turns out slightly worse Jadar.
So, Etene, I'm sorry, I do not know how to pronounce your name. It is true that Lord Skitter has the benefit of being able to accrue resources, but Jadar being able to self-sacrifice, like if you say you're in a situation where you have Skull Clan but you don't have a sack outlet, that ends up mattering a lot. So I do agree there is a benefit to playing Lord Skitter in that regard. So yeah, there's some give and take here. I think, but do we want to go for the 6?
I want to go for the 6.
Let's go 6. All right. I think the benefit here is we can just say there's a 10 on support.
Yeah.
Like, even though we're talking about rats, we also get to bump up the flexibility bit, because this is not just like normal rats where you get to do a little bit of stuff, but yeah, you get the flexibility that, at least the level of flexibility that Jadar gets, which what do we have for
Jadar
Jadar?
has a... I'm scrolling.
7 on flexibility. We'll drop that flexibility just a little bit.
Because you still have to play rats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't have to play a lot of rats. But it's just nice if you do. It's the being able to play. You have to play more sack outlets.
Yeah.
Which maybe drops us down by 1 more point to a 5. No, we can leave it be.
I think it's about a 3 for power.
The random Grave Hate is nice.
Random Grave Fate is nice.
I think that's enough to give it a 4.
It might be a 4.
And we can say Rats brings it down.
That's fair.
Today's the 17th. Oops.
September 17th. Notes. This is Jadar Light. You could play Jadar, but you want to have a rat as your commander. Oh.
That's good. We've moved along. Let's talk about old Flitter Bank.
Bad.
Yeah, this is so bad.
Amazing artwork. Amazing artwork.
Adorable
Bad.
rat. Very cool. It's not the worst thing I've seen. Like, I will give it, as weird as it is, I will give it the benefit that it is in fact a fairy, and that kind of helps a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah, not by much.
What's the card analysis on EDH Rook right now?
Yeah, I don't even want to.
It's 12 whole decks and they're playing food.
That checks out.
Again, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but this is very far in the 2 to 3 category, probably 2.
I'm gonna go just straight 2s.
2s, and don't worry too much about it from there. 2s. It doesn't even have that much support or flexibility, because mono black food is actually pretty low.
Yeah, we really need green for food to somewhat
And also,
function.
I'm going to go ahead and say that its power is actually a 1. It's everything else pulling this up to a 2.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Any more mono blacks? Nope.
Flitterfang being okay in the 99. That could be fine enough in the 99.
It is a fairy.
Yeah,
It
that's
being a
something.
fairy is relevant.
It's just being 5 mana is really bad, plus having to need so much mana for its activated ability.
Yeah. All right. Godric
What
time?
was our first one? Oh, Godric. Okay, I'm a little unsure where to rate this one, honestly, because
Everything has fire breathing.
So all your dragons get fire breathing, right, from this ability.
Yeah.
And that's pretty nice for 1 mana, but you have to have 2 permanents enter the battlefield under your control. 2 non-lands, specifically.
That is the hard part.
Mm-hmm. And, pardon the French, but red is go fast, eat ass. Guaranteeing 2 permanents every turn is actually kind of tough unless you're doing some token generation.
Yep.
Specifically like treasures or something along those lines. Additionally, you want to have your deck split between 2 permanents entering the battlefield every turn and dragons.
Yeah, it's just awkward. Like, I really wish Celebration was like, if another permanent entered the battlefield instead of 2, like another non-land permanent, I should say.
Mm-hmm. And you click on the EDH page.
It's all dragons? Oops, all dragons?
It is like 60% of it is just dragons. So we're in a kind of rough spot on here.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure what we're getting out of this for we're getting out of this for our work is a 3-mana 4/4 flying haste dragon that pumps our team. Which we need more dragons for it to be good. It's not unreasonable for us to have 1 other dragon in play, but it's a little hard to get to that 3rd dragon.
Yeah. I do like it with Goldspan, though.
Yeah, Goldspan makes this nice. Yeah, at least the good news on this is any creature that swings to generate a token actually does help this. So Goldspan is particularly good here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Loyal Apprentice also can be. Like anything that just makes a token.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ganax making an additional token so your other dragons do big things. Protection. This is another vulnerable red deck. I'm willing to say that this at least gets a 3, maybe a 4. Probably a 3.
Still. I'm giving it the 3. It's just a little too restrictive, right?
Going for the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point to put it. By the way, Chad, if you disagree with us or anything that we're saying, or you think we need to look at something else and talk about it, absolutely let us know. We are very welcome to input. That's a 2, not a 3. I don't think it gets optimal, or it doesn't improve enough when you optimize the rating. Support here is a little clunky.
I think it's like a 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it that 7. Hello, how you doing today?
Hey,
Flexibility is not great. Honestly, probably about a 2 on the flexibility because we have some very specific needs with this commander, and honestly, oops, that's not a notes thing anymore. That's when did we update this thing?
I love how 95% of the Zur Scale is just going to be no blank updates because it was random nights in the middle of a week.
Yeah. It's going to be a decent amount of that, but hey, it'll let people know in due time we reevaluated things and we have gotten stronger opinions.
All right.
One way or another.
Sweet commander alert.
All right, so I really did not like Imodane the first time I read it, and then I remembered something. How Imodane interacts with damage doubling effects.
V, I'm gonna be real. I don't care enough to disagree with Godric or Bang.
I think that is fair.
That's completely fair.
So the big benefit on Imodane is how you do damage doubling effects, right?
Yep.
If you have a Sulfin in play, who will double all damage from non-combat damage sources you control, it'll double the damage from your lightning bolt. It goes from 3 damage to 6 damage, and then Imodane's going to trigger, and Sulfin will double it again.
Yep.
To now dealing 12 damage to each of your opponents for a single lightning bolt.
And then you start working on, like, City of Fire and all the other triple damage red spells.
I mean, if we can just go back up to the high synergy cards real quick. Shivan Meteor.
It's just fun.
That just one-shots somebody
yep.
with a damage doubler in play. That is 40 or 52 damage.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
So now the question becomes, how easy is it to assemble 2 to 3 burn spells, a damage doubler, and Imodane in play?
It's pretty easy, honestly.
It doesn't seem too hard. Like, we already got Soulfin, we got City on Fire, Fire Emancipation, Furnace of Wrath. I would honestly probably be pretty close to just maximizing all of my damage doublers with this commander.
I think we're playing all of them. We're playing this Red Virtue here as well, just for card draw.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm playing cards like Lightning Axe, which initially I looked at and I was like, oh, that's so bad that we're playing Lightning Axe. And then I just sit there and go, oh no, that's 20 damage each.
Yeah.
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 So so without like super optimizing this list, and I don't think there's much of a difference between the optimized and the unoptimized version.
I think there's exactly zero difference between the optimized and unoptimized version.
Kind of just baseline deck is pretty similar overall. It should be a relatively low creature strategy. Like, we're talking like 12, 15 creatures in the whole deck.
We're running the doublers, Torbrand, and Gutter Snipe probably. So
I'm not even sold on Gutter Snipe, honestly. Like, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, it's just not great.
Oh, it also interacts weirdly with Chandra's Fury. That's also funny.
Does that, hold on, wait, does that actually work with Chandra's Fury? Hold on. Chandra's Fury? I must find this card. I will be a moment. Let me see here. So, 1 damage to target player or planeswalker, and then 1 damage to each creature that player controls.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah, that... Hold on. You know, that only targets a single creature. It doesn't target a single creature in this exchange, so Chandra's Fury wouldn't work. It may be that we're talking about Chandra's Ignition, which is target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each other opponent. So single target, yes, that would do that would do some crazy things, and that's honestly a pretty easy one-shot kill, right?
Yep.
Because it only needs a single target. Wait, hold on. Only a single creature.
No, like
deals that damage to that creature. So actually, no, it does not work with Chandra's Ignition.
Yep.
Either.
Okay.
So we have determined that is in fact false. That is not easy. We can disregard that one.
So are we giving this like a 5 or a 6?
I would say baseline is 6.
Okay.
I think this pretty easily gets to be an above average deck, despite the weirdness of it. It will just win out of nowhere.
Yes. It's going to very easily win out of nowhere. So,
honestly, is this a 7?
It might. Is it? Yeah, because we've just gotten enough damage doublers and triplers for this to just instantly one-shot anybody.
You know, I'm sitting here a little bit thinking about like our definition of a 10, right? Where the example that we provided is that, you know, the commander can do broken things with, 70 lands and a handful of choice spells. We got a lot of redundancy on the burn spells. We have a lot of redundancy on the mana acceleration. We got a lot of redundancy on doubling and all of this. So everything we care about can be set up pretty easily.
Yep.
That feels like an 8.
It's probably an 8. Is it an 8?
Right? Like
it I don't think it plays well with other 8s though, is the thing.
Maybe.
Like, I'm fairly certain Godo, who we have as a normal 8, is probably running over this deck.
Depends on how fast the Godo deck's going.
That's true, but
if you're trying to play Samurais, which is legitimately a thing that some Godo decks do.
Like, your average Burgy list is probably steamrolling this deck. So
maybe.
It might just be a 7. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a 7. Uncertain principle.
I think that's reasonable. I think saying 7 is reasonable. I think setting 8 is also potentially reasonable. Because I'm thinking like the Burgy decks, for example. The Burgy decks require so much support to make them do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Imodane doesn't need as much support, but Burgy decks go faster.
Burgy decks go faster, and also, while you don't require as much support, your support is like very specific. Like you need these specific sets of cards. So
True.
Whereas Burgy can kind of just function on her own, right? So
yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, one of the true strengths of Burgy is just being able to play Hardenfeld as a commander as well.
B brings up an excellent point. Is she better than Kiki, which is a 7? And I think the decks are going to be about the same power level.
For purely Kiki-Jiki, I think this is actually very comparable to Kiki-Jiki in terms of the power level. Because we're also forgetting one of the big benefits of Imodane here, which is I'm telling you to play a lot of removal in your deck to slow down your opponent.
Oh yeah, commander players don't play removal.
You are going to frustrate a lot of people because it's like, oh yeah, I'll just play this hate piece that slows down your strategy, and you just go sit there and go, well, guess I'll just use one of my 6 removal spells in hand to kill that thing. The bad news is that you are very much set up for 1-for-1ing your opponents as opposed to 2-for-1ing or trying to do board wipes. You'll still play, Blasphemous Act, but...
Also, this deck requires a sneaky large amount of mana.
Yeah, it does require a lot of mana. That is the big problem with Imodane. So I think 7 becomes the fair point. I want to just go ahead and give the support a 6 and the flexibility a 2 because, support is a 10, flexibility is a 2 because God, is this deck not flexible? I might actually just put it as a 1 on the flexibility.
Yeah, you have 1 build.
You have exactly 1 build of this deck, but that deck is quite good. And Imodane is absolutely the thing that makes that deck good.
Yep.
Also, it's just reasonable overall. I don't have any comments for this.
No, it's... Every deck's a 7, right? So
everything's a 7, right? That's definitely what this means. Let's see. What's our next one?
Is that it for mono red? That's it for mono red.
That's it for monocolored.
Wow. Oh boy, fun commander alert.
Now we get to talk about 3 blue-white decks. And I have words.
This commander is fun. This is like one of the most fun blue-white commanders.
God, Hilda's so much fun. And she's legitimately good as well.
Yes.
Which cannot be understated. As she makes such terrible cards good, and that's a sign of a great commander design overall.
Yeah.
So, I will say I don't think she's broken. I actually think that there's decent chance that Imodane is better as just like a flat line, like just a flat deck. But you get a lot of options with Hilda.
We're only playing this card in 80% of decks, Jason.
Oh. So 20% of people are wrong.
Yes.
Or playing on a weird budget that doesn't include a $1 card. Inquisitor Greyfax? Yeah, you can definitely play Hilda in an Inquisitor Greyfax deck. It'd actually be pretty reasonable there.
That actually doesn't sound half bad, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hilda is one of those cards that does not go into too many, the 99 of too many decks, but she absolutely leads a lot of deck. Like, she's a great leader for her own deck.
Yep.
I will say I have found that her mana costs are pretty high, but that's not the worst for a control deck, but the problem is you're not killing your opponent's creatures, you're keeping them around, so you can keep tapping them. So, there's some conflict there of how you want to play a control deck. But you just get this massive board as well. She's also extremely mana hungry.
Yeah. She needs a lot of mana to function, and you're in blue-white, you don't generate mana that well.
Yeah, I was chatting with Cameron, who ended up playing this. Alcus made the deck for the channel, but I had actually brewed a build of Hilda beforehand, because we were going to play Hilda on the channel one way or another.
Yep.
But it just ended up being that we played Alcus's list as opposed to mine. And Hilda is really, really good, and I had a big debate as to whether or not to include Thran Dynamo in the deck.
I think you almost have to after playing it.
Yeah, and I came to the conclusion that Thran Dynamo is a card that you actually really want in a Hilda deck. It's very rare to see that people really want Thran Dynamo in a deck. It's usually just excessive. But the excessive amounts of mana are actually really good in Hilda decks. So... Ooh, somebody found a neat card that I didn't think of. This Capsho Kite Fins, that whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get to tap a creature an opponent controls. So that's like a second opposition on a body. That's neat.
That is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. So, baseline, I'm willing to say that Hilda's at least a 6. And probably a 7.
I think she's a 7. 7/7.
Any need to differentiate between normal and optimized? I don't feel like it.
No.
Cool. Support. I will give the support a 9. I do not think we have the best tappers. Ooh, 6. Someone got 6?
That's Chandler's opinion. I don't.
I'm gonna easy. If Chandler said something, disregard. I'm kidding. Hilda's, I can definitely see some. I can see some arguments for the 6 here, because like she wants a lot of setup. She's vulnerable herself. You know, a lot of you're not really protecting her very much. So when she gets removed, it's pretty awful. You want to set her up as a 3, Robbo? How dare you?
Hey, Robbo, we both know that is incorrect.
She asks for a lot of support to be good, but what she gives you is really powerful. So does that make her a 6?
Maybe a 6/7.
We do the split.
Yeah, depends on how much fast mana and mana rocks you're running.
Then I'm gonna go ahead and bump down her support just a little bit, but I'm gonna give her the 7 because she stopped doing that. She is quite good.
Yes, tap down is surprisingly one of the most underused abilities in Commander.
Mm-hmm. And I'll still say, like, having played against this, I played against a lot of tap down stuff in Limited yesterday, for example, and it still wasn't that good. It just slowed me down. It didn't kill my things.
Yep.
So you have to be able to take advantage of it, which Hilda does let you take advantage of it by generating an army, but you need a lot of mana. Yeah, and you need to find card draw, which she can provide as well, but you need advantage.
I bet Hilda is sweet and Limited.
Can confirm she was difficult to deal with in Limited. Alright, I think the 6/7 split works well for now. I'd maybe be interested in seeing arguments at the 7 level, but for now, we'll leave it there.
Yep.
Because we have other commanders to talk about.
Like the Cornerstone commander here.
So I'll be honest with you, she's actually pretty good too.
Not something I'm interested in building around, but yeah, it's not awful.
Just take what Hilda is doing, add Blink.
Yeah.
Remove as much mana.
Yeah.
Pretty good, actually. Legitimately, like, this is like a 5 for me.
Yeah, it's probably a 5.
Flicker, maybe it could be better, but...
Flicker, I mean, it's not good Flicker, but it does draw you cards, so...
Right. The thing I will say is, you know, her ability just... There are always some aggressive decks that really get stonewalled by a stun counter. It's actually kind of surprising. And when you can do it repeatedly, you're doubling up your ETBs, you're doing... Like, this starts slowly building that Flicker engine it's quite powerful. I still lean towards a 5, though, just because the tap-down support is not quite as good. You can play Hilda in this deck to make it better, but, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to lean more on the 5, just to be safe, more than anything.
Yeah, but I think the 5 is very fair, and maybe even, there may even be a reason to give it a 6, but I'm going to go ahead and give it 10 on support. I'll give it a little bit more flexibility, range on flexibility, because it does still want to play with some of the stun stuff. Yeah.
You could
No
turn on
comment on
Seek
that
River
beyond there.
Guide to pivot into Voltron. That's a line. That is a line. Does Commander say draw a card? Good. One exception. There's one exception, and it's only because card support is not there. But yeah.
Alright. So, let's
Hot take time.
Will Scion a piece?
4.
Please, present a 4. Why would you say something so controversial and actually not controversial at all?
It's a below average deck.
Yeah, so let's click on the EDH page for a second. Let's talk about what makes Will hard to work with.
All right, so I'm playing a lot of bad cards, Jason, to make this card function.
Mm-hmm. I think here is a big difference between Will and Rowan, and we will talk about Rowan at depth later. But for easy comparison, losing life is significantly easier than gaining life.
Yes.
And the huge benefit in Rakdos as well is there's multiple effects that cause you to lose life for free. Like, you can just play your Hex Parasite or something to reduce your life total as low as you need to. There's nothing in Commander that just lets you gain life for free.
Now, what would make Will really good is if Will was Selesnya. Then it is piss easy to get this ability to do a lot of stuff.
It's definitely a lot easier, but I would still say, even in Selesnya, I would probably only put this at a 5. The other thing to mention, though, is... So, one of the high synergy cards is Soul Warden. Right, another creature enters the battlefield under your control, enters the battlefield in general, you gain 1 life.
Yep.
Will's ability can only be activated at sorcery speed, so keep that in mind. To gain your life, then, you need to dedicate resources to gain life, to then tap Will to get a mana advantage.
Like, I understand why there's the sorcery requirement for Rowan in particular. Yeah. Will does not need that sorcery speed requirement, or sorcery speed line of text.
Yeah, honestly, that's fair. Man, there's some great ways of utilizing life gain for card advantage in this color combination. And you can do the tap and untap stuff, right? What if he was banned? I mean, obviously adding green to this would improve this. Green improves most every Commander deck, especially at casual.
Yeah.
But, you know, I will also say that adding colors is not free. So, there is a cost. But it's not significant enough that I'm worried about it.
So 4?
Yeah, I think 4 is actually the spot to put it, and I don't think optimizing it gets better. I think it gets a little bit of flexibility, but beyond that, it does not really improve much.
The people hated me for I was correct.
Here, let me...
Life gain in Azorius, not good. Will needing sorcery speed for the life gain, also not good.
Yep. I had to put that comment in there for that, because somebody might actually go like, oh no, I can do some crazy dumb things with Will, and it's like, well, just because you can do a dumb thing doesn't mean that it is that good.
Yeah, I've had multiple people play this deck now and tell me that it didn't feel good to play. So,
yeah. All right, so we have 4 different blue-black commanders, and almost all of them are fairies. We probably should still go through them one at a time, but we will be shortening the conversation as we go through.
This one is less fairies than you actually think it is. This one is draw go control.
Yeah, you can just play this as draw go control. Hate that Alayla does not have flash.
Yes, agreed.
I talk about this a fair bit in the podcast. That episode will be up on Wednesday if anybody is interested in subscribing to Wrinkly Brain EDH. Uh, I go in great length of talking about these fairies commanders and how none of them are actually really good fairies commanders. So it feels very awkward to me because like Nimrus is a better fairies commander than these guys, and that still feels wrong.
Yes.
The reward of making a 1/1 when you cast a spell on your opponent's turn is not that great. It's okay, but not that good. Goading your opponent's stuff is not terrible.
Specifically because it's not goading something at random. You do get to tell what gets to attack, which is very beneficial in a lot of circumstances.
Right. You know, we just talked about how, or I just mentioned that a stun counter can randomly throttle a deck pretty well, right? Goading an aggressive strategy can actually throttle them a little bit, but it's worse than just throwing a stun counter at them, because when you throw a stun counter at them, the benefit is that they just can't attack, whereas now they still get to progress their strategy, they just progress it at not you until later.
Yep.
So you are still at risk.
Yeah.
And goad is an annoying mechanic, people hate dealing with it.
Yes, and as soon as you start goading one person, then the rest of the table instantly starts turning towards you. It's this weird brain thing that happens in Commander players.
Yeah. You just want to play at instant speed with this deck. You pretty much play every instant you can with the exception, or instant speed threat that you can with the exception of your commander itself.
Yep.
And of course, looking at these statistics, 90% of these decks are fairies typal.
Fairies.
Like it's all fairies.
Oops, all fairies.
So,
all right. So where did we put the other fairies commanders at?
Nimrus, for example.
Yeah.
Probably do need to bump up Nimrus because of the recent CEDH results with it, but it's probably most of the deck is probably not CEDH. Let me take a quick look at Nimrus to make sure that Jeweled Lotus is not being played in like 90% of the decks that I'm unaware of. What percentage of these decks are playing Jeweled Lotus? %? That's more than I was expecting. But that's not enough for me to change the rating based on that.
4 or 5?
I do think this is barely better than Nimrus at a casual level. I think an optimized Nimrus deck will absolutely beat the shit out of this deck.
Okay. So 4 then.
It's me, I'm the goat hater. Same. I think Alayla can have herself at a 4. She can do some cool things, but she's going to have a bit of an issue with actually finishing the game, and just aggravating people does not mean better.
Yes.
Actually, I'll go ahead and give you the 10 on the support. There's enough. Just fairies, flash, instant speed control. There's enough flexibility here that you have some good flexibility and support.
So I actually think that she might be... If she had flash, she's for sure a 5, right? Like...
You give her flash, I'll give her a 6.
No, I was meaning
joking.
Power-wise.
Oh, no, I'm straight. No, I mean, like, her own power goes up to being a 6 if you just give her flash. Like, she becomes so much better if you give her flash.
Yeah.
You don't create any windows for your opponent to kill your commander and you not get benefit from it. You're able to start disrupting at instant speed. Like, there's so much control you get if Alayla had flash. She would definitely be at least a 6. Like, I would say a 6 if you gave her flash.
I also feel like they played it a bit too safe with the fairies in this set, outside of one in particular. But
listen to the podcast. Listen to the podcast. Okay. Shall we go to the next one?
Oh, speaking of fairies being played way too safe.
Yeah. Okay, I will at least say that you gave me a cheap 2-mana flash flying fairy that rewards me for playing other fairies. I just don't like the reward very much.
Yeah, the reward bad, but I mean, it could be worse.
It could be much worse. I think there's good ways. closing games. Ayara, Goad helps whittle down life totals in the opponent so you can finish off with a Candlekeeper, Inspiration, or Puppeteer. Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's like, good luck getting there. You must keep in mind that with goading, you are progressively annoying your opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And they will stop you so that you stop goading them. They will blame you, not the person who is goaded.
Yep.
So, alright, so Obira is... Welcome to more fairies.
More fairies.
If we were just basing this purely on you're playing fairies and you're trying to kill people with a basic fairy, I would say this is worse than a Layla. It'd be like a 2 or probably a 3.
I think it's a 3.
But we have to consider something here, which is Cloud of Fairies.
Yep. I was waiting for it.
So, for those of you unaware, Cloud of Fairies, a 2-mana 1/1 that when it enters the battlefield, you untap up to 2 lands. This is an infamous combo card where you will keep replaying the Cloud of Fairies, and Obira gives you the win con for that. So now we gotta try to figure out how many of these people are going through infinite combo loops with Cloud of Fairies.
I'm just looking for Cloud of Fairies.
Oh, it's in the high synergy cards.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, new art. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it comes in the precon as well, so...
Yes, it does.
So, alright. Big question of, even if I sort by, cards that or decks that have Cloud of Fairies in it, it's really hard for me to figure out how many people are actually really building around Cloud of Fairies as a win con.
Well, what are the other pieces in the combo for this?
Great question. The easiest one for this would be to just have a... why am I blanking on its stupid name? Dude that you pay 2 mana and you flicker your creature. And he soul bonds. Deadeye Navigator. All you need is Deadeye Navigator, and that's the easiest combo piece. Which is few and far between, actually, for these decks. And to be fair, Obira actually does not have that many decks. So there's a pretty good chance that people just are unaware of how this one works. Or they're not working with that synergy.
I think a lot of people are just getting on the first glance train of, it's only one life loss for everybody. That's not very good.
I will say, without the combo, this is not impressive. Like, this is quite weak, and Fairies is not a deck that really goes wide easily. Like, it's disruptive, it's annoying, that's how Fairies function. It's not the best at winning games.
Yes.
But it is good at making your opponents annoyed that you're trying. Additionally, only 5 decks have both Deadeye Navigator and Cloud of Fairies in it.
Ooh.
So we are pretty low on...
So that means we get
anything.
to do a 3-5?
I would... Yeah.
Because I think even with the Cloud of Fairies combo, it's still an average deck at that point.
Yeah, I don't think Obira is the thing that is good about this deck. It is just, it's a combo piece in the command zone for a 3-card combo that requires a fair bit of mana, but not that much mana.
Yep.
Okay, why did it move that way? Let me just write that in here.
While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get the next card pulled up. Oh boy, chat. We get some words about this one.
Uh-huh. Okay, Talion. So they're pretty good.
So, remember what we said about them playing fairies safe in this set? Then there's Talion.
Yeah.
Okay, real question. Let's just go ahead and get this debate. Is Talion the best commander in this set, or is it still Rowan? It's real close between them.
Losing to its own ability to the Thorkel combo. True. That is a really hard choice. For like CEDH, Talion's the best commander in the set. I don't think Rowan competes with Talion for CEDH. For high power casual, they're pretty on par. Talion maybe ekes it out.
I think Talion ekes it out just because this thing says mana value, power, or toughness. And you always just choose the number 2.
Yeah. And I'm also just going to go ahead and point out now that if you click on the links for Talion, of the 800 decks that are here, 50% of them are Thoracle decks, 50% of them are playing Flusterstorm, 50% of them are playing Toxic Deluge, Opposition Agent, Jeweled Lotus. 50% of these decks are CEDH.
Chandler has asked, does the commander say draw card?
You know it.
Sure does.
So we can't not talk about CEDH for this commander.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but
CEDH is going to, and because of feedback loops that come with EDH Rec, even casual decks are going to be influenced by some of the cards played in the CEDH decks here. As such, we kind of have to just talk about the optimized versus unoptimized rating and talk about the optimized rating as CEDH. Optimized as a CEDH, with CEDH in mind. 9?
9.
I think it's really good. Like,
unfortunately, you die to your own Thassa's Oracle trigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it wasn't even CEDH, like, it does just vomit value. That is very true, B.
Yes.
And so normal, I do think it is worse than the CEDH build because the meta is more well-defined in CEDH. Talion has a harder time in casual where you're gonna... I will generally say that 2 is the number you name in CEDH, and it is oftentimes the number you will name in casual, but I also think there's a huge argument for 3.
You either name 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in casual, then you can just clone Talion and name the other one. So...
Yeah, you can do... So long as you find a way to make a non-legendary clone of Talion, you can just keep doing that, and you can lose a lot of value that way. The clones strategy, we played that on the channel a little bit. We played, 7 clones in that deck?
I think it was 7.
7 or 8, and only one of them couldn't make a non-legendary copy of Talion. So, yeah. Talion does some incredible stuff. It's very punishing as well for just playing the game.
I think it's still an 8.
8 feels right, maybe even 9, but probably 8.
Yeah, it's a good stuff commander because it doesn't offer a whole much to build around.
Yes.
But what you're getting with it being your commander is...
Control. Yeah, you're getting control over the game, you're getting a lot of value.
People are going to get whittled down by this very, very quickly. So
yeah. I think we can go ahead and say the 8. The 8 feels comfortable. Maybe a justification for 9. We'll have to go ahead and justify that, yes, this is CEDH.
Hey,
almost 50% of the decks are CEDH.
If you guys are at Vegas, please bring your Talion casual decks and play against Jason, so that way we can get a proper assessment on this.
Yeah, legitimately, bring decks that I haven't, if I haven't seen the deck before or haven't gotten to play against the deck, I absolutely want to play against your deck. I want data so I can play, or so that I can update Zur Scale, make it look a little better, have these streams again. I'll be taking some notes while I'm at Vegas, seeing how did I feel about certain decks, what did they do to me, did I think they were that good? Absolutely. Alright, deck's very flexible.
You can just play whatever.
What about 8?
Yeah.
Maybe 7. You do want to play, control-y stuff, some ramp. It's still about SIG level with flexibility.
Talion's probably a 9, power-wise. Just because there's two very common numbers that 95% of games, either one of them will work.
That's a hard question for me, whether it's an 8 or a 9. I think it's an 8. I do think the support does bring up the deck a little bit, right? Because like if you didn't have Thassa's Oracle win cons to work with, this would be hard to win.
That's true, I guess. I don't know. You just accrue so much advantage.
I know, it's hard.
You just auto win half the time.
That makes me want to pump them up to a 9. Then that's just their baseline.
Yeah.
And say like in CDH optimized, it doesn't really get that much better. So is Talion just a 9 then?
Yeah, Talion's just a 9.
Alright. I don't think it can be a 10.
No.
But alright. We'll give you that. Also, so around 50% Italian decks are CDH decks. So it has to be considered in the rating.
While we wait for Jason to do his notes for the Zur Scale. Here, chat. Have the next commander.
I'm still typing. It gets worse at lower power. I will acknowledge that. Like, really low power, Talion's actually not that good.
You can still name 2 or 3 and still probably get some advantage off of it. I don't know. It's...
And once decks get less predictable.
V has said that they were upset about Tegwyll. They wanted the precon to be aristocrat fairies.
You wanted the precon to just be all aristocrat? See, that's my thing. I'm actually kind of the opposite. I don't like that Tegwyll's an aristocrat's commander.
Yeah, it doesn't play well with fairies.
That's the problem, right? like it's really just like a go wide fairies commander that has the benefit of if you get board wiped. Okay.
Draw
a bunch of cards.
Yeah.
I'll rebuild. It's gonna cost me a lot of mana because while fairies do have some cheap costs to them, they are still rather like high mana value overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just fairies aren't aggressive. So not great, and Tegwyll once again does not have flash.
Remember, Chad, I said if cards don't have support, then we can't just use the you draw a card text to make note that it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, like we don't have a lot of good ways of making tokens in fairies. There's a few. Like I'm not gonna deny Alayla is not a bad way of making tokens. Bitter Blossom is one of your better ways of making tokens. Fairy Formation, 4 mana to make a token and draw a card. That's not where we want to be, but I'll acknowledge it's something you can do.
It's a thing.
Yeah, honestly, making Changeling tokens is probably easier than making Fairy tokens sometimes. That's such an awkward thing.
Just the precon, right? Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah, most of it is just the precon. I don't think there's any like fairies that we can loop for combos, right? Not unless we're changing creature types.
Glenelendra? Potentially.
I guess, okay. No, that's true. With because she's got Persist, so if you play like what's his name? Metallic Mimic?
Metallic Mimic, there's also the one that is it Wizards and Rogues get an additional 1/1 counter?
Mm-hmm.
There's that fairy as well.
Yeah. Okay. So there's something we can work with here for getting a draw combo that does kill us. But we just have to gain life, which is not the worst to do, but you have to play non-fairies to make that happen.
Yeah. Which, I mean, this is asking you to play semi-aristocrats.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I think it just wants you to... like most of fairies. I guess I should say a lot of the other fairies decks would play a tempo strategy and kind of like mix it with control elements, right? Whereas this is probably the most mid-range of fairy decks,
Yes.
where you're dropping a lot of your counter magic to just develop your board more. That's fine. It's a different way of playing. It's not great because fairies aren't great at this.
I was gonna say it's not what fairies want to do.
Yeah. So I guess the question becomes, I mean, I don't know. If we just say how good is fairies mid range if you give it +1/+1 and board wipe protection? In quotations on the protection.
Like a 4.
Yeah, it feels somewhere between 4 and 5 to me. Not quite in either camp for me to say with certainty.
I'm gonna go ahead and just say a 4, and largely because 95% of fairy cards do not play well with this commander at all. So
understandable. All right then, we'll go with the 4. Decent support, but not great support. So is that the worst support of any of these fairies commanders? I think that is. No, it needs lower support because the fairies mid-range stuff is just not that good.
Yeah.
Really not that flexible. Yeah, Tegwyll's fine enough. It's holding the 4. All right. Let's get on to our next group. We're in Rakdos here. Hey, Rowan. Or actually...
Is it just Rowan?
Yes. No, there's one more. There's rats.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Darn right.
Okay.
All right, it's Rowan time.
I spent a solid day and a half trying to make this card not absurdly turbo broken when it does its thing, and I just gave up. It is too easy to do its thing. That being said, the downside is we have this nice little line of text here that says sorcery speed.
Yep.
That prevents this from being a 10.
Yes. Well, actually, honestly, I don't even know if that matters. If it actually prevents it from being a 10.
I think it matters quite a bit. Because giving Rowan haste on somebody else's turn, you can still... There are enough expo instants and ways to lose life on somebody else's turn that you can just win. So...
Yeah, let me check something real quick. All right, so Rowan has 1,750 decks currently on EDH Rec. This is a commander that I feel like Casual Commander has this big thing where we want to try to let people do their thing, but unfortunately, if Rowan does the thing, the game is just over, right? So you just don't let the Rowan player play the game.
Yeah.
And it's actually not that hard to stop the Rowan player from playing the game because you have a 2 toughness commander.
Yes.
It dies to pretty much every piece of removal out there.
Which is how this commander is balanced.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, deck's still probably like an 8. You're just playing a lot of generically good cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of generically good cards. To my people in chat, I have a good feeling most of you have seen a Rowan deck played at this point, or you have played against me, or played against it, I should say. Give us the bad beats. How bad has this actually been for you? Because, as somebody pointed out in our comment section, you know, anytime that they've seen Rowan, they are such high risk, high reward. One counterspell completely shuts them down.
Yes.
And that is not a good spot to be. But in Casual Commander, people will let you do that. Like, they won't play the one counterspell and hold it up for you. Yeah, you don't feel sorry for the Rowan player at all. Nor do I, honestly. Like, you signed up to play the fastest game you can play possible.
Yes.
Like, Rowan really doesn't get to be played fair.
No.
And, like, you know, looking at the cards that are played in the decks, right? We're talking 84% playing a Sanguinate. 80%, almost 80% playing Treasonous Ogre. We got 76% playing Crackle with Power. 70% playing Torment of Hailfire.
Wait, Jason. 69% playing Fire Covenant.
Nice. They got Necropotence in almost 69% of the decks as well. Like, the amount of, I'm just going to go fast here, like, Blood Celebrant is a card that you're only playing in the deck just to reduce your life total as low as possible, and that's in 64% of the decks.
Yeah.
Wall of Blood, which is just an awful card, is in 55% of decks. Not even at my casual Last 7, and people read Rowan and be like, that needs to die. Yep.
Yep.
But sometimes you don't have the answer because casual, and she just does the thing. Which is why, controversial take here for Zur Scale. Her casual rating, or her normal rating, is higher than her optimized rating.
Yes. I'm going to completely agree with that.
And even more controversially.
It's like a dramatic difference, is it not?
No, I don't want to say it's too dramatic. I want to give her a 10-8 split.
Yeah, I can see that.
I want to say, yeah, you know what? You are a 10 in terms of the normal game that we're playing. Because normally people will just let you do your thing.
Yeah, normally people are going to let you, either, even if they don't let you do your thing, you probably can still do your thing on like turn 3 or 4.
Yep, pretty easily.
For average commander deck building, so...
Yep. And even like, and this is another thing, like just looking at kind of what people are doing, right? Obviously, if you make her faster, she's going to do better, right? So to speak.
Oh,
but as people get faster, they're more prepared for you. And despite, Mana Crypt's in 40% of the decks as is. Like, you are almost 50-50 to see Mana Crypt in a deck. Right? We have no... We're not thinking that, oh, maybe they're doing this fair thing, they're not going to go too fast. No, they're trying to go fast. Nobody's playing Rowan fair.
This is strictly the skate fast, eat ass type of deck.
It may be that maybe she's a 9-8 as opposed to a 10-8.
I think she's not quite. Well, just because there's so many ways to lose life.
Yeah.
That's why I can give you the 10.
Yeah, she's got so much redundancy. You don't need, like, even without tutors, there's so much redundancy in ways to lose as much life as I would like, and then big fireball to kill my opponents.
Yeah.
Or to make their lives miserable. It's not hard.
Yeah, I can give you the 10-8.
Let's go. Nutty decisions have been made. You got a 10 on support, buddy. You have 1 on your flexibility, buddy. Alright, is Rowan the broken thing? Yes.
Yes.
Rowan makes bad cards good.
Yes.
Also, while we're here, what's his name? Is Prosper still a 9? Keeps getting support.
Man, Prosper is a 10.
Is Prosper a 10? Ooh, interesting.
Well, how do I want to put this? Prosper absolutely is at least a 9 still. And we're getting so much, like, good exile impulse draw effects that we can almost start trimming out a lot of the bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
So...
yeah, it's interesting. I think it's still probably fine to put it here. It's still very mid-rangey and fair, but it's just, God, people don't put respect on Prosper, which is also a problem. It's just so unassuming, but it does so much.
Yeah. It requires so little to do a lot. So it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, for people wondering what I'm writing at the moment, I'm writing in the comments, highly volatile commander, with over 60% of decks playing cards designed to reduce your life total for free, you will get to pop off on turn 4 a lot of the time with a high degree of redundancy. While you'd think the deck would get better at higher power levels, this is where people start becoming more aware of what you're doing and will actively work to stop you. And now you're putting yourself into a high-risk, high-reward situation centered around resolving a single spell.
Yep. Which
So,
you're 9 times out of 10 not going to get to resolve.
Yep. So,
I think I've done it. I did it once on camera. I don't think that video is ever going to get used, though.
yeah. It's hard to justify it for like content creation because it's like
it was
okay,
a win on
you won.
turn. It was practically a win on turn 4. So
Tautentan's name translates to Dance of Death. Interesting.
Neat.
Sorry, still typing. We can still pull up our good friend the Rat King here.
I've already got it pulled up. Don't worry.
Excellent. All right, Mr. Rats.
More rats, Rakdos rats.
All right, I'm gonna immediately say this. I don't think rats got better because we added a color. Proceed.
I actually think they get worse.
I don't know if they get worse, but
Eh.
not better. Because like red rat cards are not very good, except for Song of Tautentan's. That's actually a pretty solid card. Just another rat fireball.
If you ever wanted an ogre slumlord in your command zone, you know what? True.
That's very true. So obviously people are playing this boy as rats. He wants you to play rats. He also could just be. You mentioned ogre slumlord. I'm also just sitting here going like, how many commanders do we have that actually just say whenever a creature you controls dies, make a token?
Yeah, insert X
red, black.
aristocrats commander here.
Yeah, this is like once again, just like with Lord Skitter. This deck just seems flat out better as a generic aristocrats deck. You don't need to play it as rats. And you can still build around the commander just by making it an aristocrats deck.
Absolutely. And what's our baseline for aristocrats? Like a 5? Or is it a 4?
Aristocrats require so many pieces to be good. You have to have those ones that are like resilient or redundant. And this falls in the resilient category.
So 4 or 5, Jason?
I'll give it the 5.
You
Easy.
give it the 5?
I will absolutely give this a 5. At least if you're not doing rats. If you're doing rats, I'll give you a 4.
All right,
we go like a 4-6 split.
We know what the people want. The people want the rats, so give them the 4-6 split.
Judith and Jury are at 5. That helps. It does help some. I think Judith is quite good. I actually think Tautentan's as a generic sack commander is better than Judith, because just having more fuel for sacrificing is so important to these decks.
Yes.
So, granted, I love Judith as well. So, I think 4-6 split actually becomes the way to do this.
Yeah. The people want the rats. They're going to get the rats.
And I will give them, like, you can play the rats, but also, like...
Play the good cards that make your commander function.
Yeah, just play the good cards that make your commander function. Doesn't sense just being a 5. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's okay. I guess while we're at it, we would like to reconfirm that Judith is in fact a 5.
Judith is the one from Ravnica Allegiance, right?
Yes, Ravnica Allegiance. Gives all your things +1/+0, and whenever they die, you deal 1 damage to any target.
Yeah, it can still be a 5.
I do like it. It is a win con for its combo loops, which is good. But
that being said, it is starting to get pushed out, just as we get better things. But
I think Jury remains in the same area as well.
Yep.
Like, big removal spell is actually pretty relevant. We can reconfirm that they're in the same territory. So, the difference is rats versus normal aristocrats.
All right, I gotta get something pulled up here real quick.
Oh, do we have a surprise? Do we have a present? What is this? Honestly, probably nothing to worry about. We're good to move on to Agatha, right?
Yeah, that's what I gotta pull.
Ah, fair enough.
We did have a deck list submitted.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This was this what Quentin submitted to us?
This is what Quentin, our resident Talion player, submitted for Agatha.
Okay, so I asked people to prove to me that Agatha is not bad. Basically. That is realistically what I asked people. Prove to me that Agatha is not a bad commander, because it reads like a commander that would be really good. 2 mana for a 1/1 that's reducing the cost of activated abilities of creatures you control by 1. It cannot reduce those activated abilities down below 1 mana. And for 4 and Gruul, other creatures you control get +1/+1, trample, and haste until end of turn.
Yeah.
Robbo was getting there. So I asked Quentin to do me, or rather, I asked people to do this, and Quentin said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to optimize it. But I am absolutely going to build around Agatha as the commander. Zur Scale requirements. Yes, Agatha is a fantastic inclusion in decks like, in the 99 of some decks like Tazri. There's also any of the Thrasios decks that play red. You can play Tazri as well. I goldfished this deck a few times. And for an optimized deck, I was not killing my opponents on turn 7. Like, I was really struggling to get to a point where I could kill my opponents on turn 7.
Yes.
I did chat with Quentin, made some recommendations on how to change some of the things. Like, I don't think Leafkin Avenger is still in the deck.
It is not.
Yeah, it looks like Leafkin Avenger got removed. That was a card I was really disappointed in. I thought it would be doing more than it actually was. There were way too many invokers in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
We only really need, like, 2 of the invokers, just so you have some redundancy. You're not really generating infinite combos in this deck. Now, there is something that is missing from this specific deck that I think is something to explore with Agatha decks, which is there are ways of turning artifacts into creatures in green. And that is where we start getting really interesting, because you can do things like turn Basalt Monolith into a creature with a card like Tough Cookie. And that's not in this deck currently, but...
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm. So once you start turning artifacts and lands into creatures, I think Agatha gets a big bump. But this draft here is what a lot of people's first thoughts are going to be, right? Like, okay, I'm building around creature-activated abilities, here's how I'm doing it. Which does tell me there needs to be a split in the ratings, probably.
Yep.
But also, I don't know how consistent, like, red-green artifact stuff is going to be. I don't know too many of the lands that I want to animate into creatures. I'm just not sure how good that is.
Yeah. I'm not for certain how good this is.
Yeah, it's really, really hard to, like, really churn through your deck. It can do some, like, pretty average things, though. Which makes me be like 4 or 5, maybe, for the baseline build, and bump it up by 1 for an optimized, maybe. But honestly, I'm not even convinced to bump it up for the optimized.
I'm not either.
Mm-hmm. Let's actually jump on the EDH rec page just to, take a look to see if maybe people are doing something that that Quentin wasn't doing that would be worth talking about. Like, does he have Soulbright Flamekin in there? I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people are playing with Leafkin Avenger. Like, a lot of people are playing with Leafkin Avenger, and I just...
It just doesn't do enough. That's my thing with really Agatha, is, it just doesn't do enough.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Not to be said that her Soul Cauldron is not a basic, because oh my god.
Yeah, her Soul Cauldron's nutty, but
Yeah, that
her on her
so
own
good.
is
So good. But yeah, she's just not doing enough for me.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to get pub stomped by Agatha decks, not because
Mhm.
Agatha is that great, but because you're playing Gruul and you're probably just playing generic good stuff in Gruul. Let's be real here.
Yeah, Soul Cauldron does some hilarious things a lot deck. Let me see what is. Let me reread Pili Pala real quick to see. How are we comboing with Pili Pala and Agatha specifically? Because right now it seems like, if we gain the ability to tap Pili Pala to make 2 mana,
Wait, Jason.
or no, we need to tap to make 1 mana.
Jason, it's a 10.
Why?
It lets the Brushwag get the pump for only 2 mana.
It's a 10 in our heart, baby.
10 in our heart, baby.
Okay, so we can use Pili Pala if we can make it so that Pili Pala is a mana dork, which is not too difficult to do in green.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to do in green.
So we're talking Pili Pala, a card that we got blasted with Ball's Invoker and a Seedborn Muse. That makes sense. Seedborn Muse is also one of those big pieces that really helps these Agatha decks.
Yep.
I think that's a card that should be highly valued in these decks, but I don't know how many are actually playing it right now. It doesn't seem like it's high synergy.
It's not a lot of people are playing it.
Womp womp. Well, then again, the high synergy category is just what percentage of this specific deck is playing these cards versus other decks. So there's a lot of decks that play Seedborn Muse in green. Let me see.
Actually,
Seedborn Muse is played in 23% of decks. That's a decent number.
That's a decent chunk, but I think it should be played.
Not enough.
I actually think it should be played in every one of Agatha's list. Just flat out.
Yeah, I would be defaulting to playing that in the deck. Okay, and then we need some way to actually turn this into lethal, which I guess if you're giving all your creatures +X+X, and you give 3 creatures. Okay, so we can effectively get to a 3-card combo with, like, Agatha, Ashaya, and Pili Pala?
Yeah. It's not a hard combo to assemble.
Rishkar. Okay, we get Rishkar as another option then.
We also have
That's not too hard to do. Okay, I will definitely give you now that there needs to be a separate optimized rating.
Yep.
And since this is one of them's an artifact creature that we get to work with, red is pretty good at finding those.
Yes.
So
okay. 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, 6.
I'm tempted to go bigger on the split to saying like 4, 6, 4, 7.
4, 6. I'm okay with 4, 6.
Yeah, I'll need to play against Robbo's Agatha deck if he's pushing more towards the combo side of things. Although importantly, if it's too much of just Gruul good stuff, I will bonk you. I will absolutely bonk you.
Robbo, I love you. Don't take this in the wrong way. It's going to be a lot of Gruul stuff.
I don't think she's that strong. Is she herself more than a 4? I don't think she is.
I don't think she is. Now, if she reduced things to below 1, then we'd be talking.
True. Very true. Okay. I'm just gonna put a comment. I need more data on combo lines.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we need more data. We'll find that data eventually.
Probably just come to Vegas, play the deck against Jason.
Easy. Alright, so now we're on to Ruby.
Ruby is here.
She feels like a 2 to me.
She is absolutely a 2.
Like,
2 mana
legit
dork.
Robo gives Agatha a 6. Understandable.
Mm-hmm.
I think optimized at least it can hit that 6 and maybe go higher. You just have to be really trying for your combos. Okay, for Ruby decks here, which of course we're working with data of 28 decks, so...
Well, I can just look at the commander,
Mhm.
read what it does, and tell you that it's a 2 or a 3. And call it good.
Yeah, I mean, where do we put Rada?
Where do we put Erdkeld?
Oh, we put Erdkeld as a 1. This is very comparable, so...
You know, it might actually... it's probably a little better. It's probably a 2.
I think it's 2. Alright, we're not spending time on Ruby. Ruby's not good.
Yeah.
You can have some bad support, you can have some decent flexibility, because you're just a mana dork. And we don't need to think about you very much, because honestly, you're not interesting. 5 out of 4. But you like Agatha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable. Again, I like to try to trust people who have big opinions on a specific color combination to see the benefits of it, but also there's bias in that regard as well. So hard to always say right away. All right, so Elevere of the Wild Court.
Card is okay.
I think it's better than okay. You know how we've just been given like Kestia a lot of benefit?
And by that I mean it's probably like a 6 or 7.
Okay. I lean towards the 7 with Elevere. If I honestly almost would rate it higher, but I need to see more of it.
I need to see more of it.
The big thing for me is, well, you don't get the virtuous role added to your own commander. You have to put it onto something else.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good role to have.
Yes.
Like, +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. That's a... What is that 1 mana enchantment? Ethereal Armor?
Yes, that is Ethereal Armor. That is all that glitters.
Mm-hmm. And just an enchanted creature you control deals combat damage to a player. It is very easy for you to go common sequence for green-white decks here. Of turn 1, play a Mana Dork. Turn 2, play a 3-drop, maybe an Enchantress. Turn 3, play Elevere. Put your thing on your creature. Swing, draw a card. And while you have only dealt, that first roll has only given +1/+1, let's say, it's just going to keep scaling very quickly. And we know how good Selesnya gets at the long game with these types of Enchantress decks.
Yes. This deck is going to grind very well. So.
All that glitters Titan good. Agreed.
You know what? That's facts. 7.
Yeah, I think I can almost see it as an 8.
It's real close.
I want data. I need data.
I also think it's like, well, then we have to factor in our other dates is going to punch, other 8's going to punch it a little hard. I think we're starting to get into that territory.
That's fair enough. I will also give I will also say that one of the nice things about this fixes one of the huge problems that Enchantress decks have, or actually it fixes 2 of the big problems that Enchantress decks have, which is not having a good way of ending the game, because this is more than adequate way for killing somebody.
Yes.
And the other thing is being able to play more creatures in your deck and fewer enchantments.
Also a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get to play your choice enchantments instead of all of the enchantments. Yeah,
you don't have to play a bunch of bad ones. I think it was... Don't quote me on this one 100%, because I gotta go actually look to confirm this. But I'm pretty sure Rebel built a CEDH version of this deck that was doing okay.
I don't think it was this commander. I think it was the other Selesnya rare in that precon.
Was it?
Yeah.
Maybe. I'll have to take a look, because I do think that this commander has the potential to do like dumb things of good.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I'm seeing 20% of decks playing Archon of Emeria is funny to me, and also, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah?
Actually, now I'm looking here. I didn't realize this. I scrolled down further, and I'm seeing like Eidolon of Rhetoric, Yasharn, Archon of Valor. This is actually like a good percentage of CEDH players have caught on to this commander. Not enough for us to change our rating based on CEDH.
No.
But that tells me more than I thought. And this is a commander that only has 400 decks.
Yeah, I actually like it as a CDH deck.
Mm-hmm.
Although
just play the good stacks pieces.
The stacks is not in a good place in the format right now, but
no, but one of the reasons stacks is not in a good place right now is because it's terrible at winning the game, and this actually wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
Slows you having stupid support. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll give it the 7 for now, I think.
Give it the 7. Benefit of the doubt later can go to an 8 or a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Might be high. We'll need more data on that. Support's a 10. I think that's pretty easy to say.
Mm-hmm.
The flexibility is actually pretty damn good. Like
you
a 4
get to
or
play
5.
creatures.
Yeah, I think we're at a 4, maybe a 5 level of flexibility.
I think you're at 5.
And the power...
Genuinely, because...
Elevator's good.
Yeah. I think you're at a 5 for flexibility simply because you get to play whatever creature you want. You don't even need enchantments to make this deck function and work well. So...
Mm-hmm. Okay. Gil-Wayne, casting director? Rolls aren't bad.
Rolls aren't bad.
Let's see. The rolls in this case are Royal, which gives +1/+1 and Ward 1. That's nice.
That's good.
Monster gives +1/+1 and Trample.
That's also good.
And Sorcerer is +1/+1, and whenever you attack, you scry 1 with that thing.
That's also good.
Gil-Wayne is insane. Jaheira, Rite of Harmony, draws 2 per creature. Okay. I wasn't thinking much on the token synergy that comes with this, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Actually.
I didn't think about that.
Which I guess we also didn't consider the token synergy that comes with Elevere, but...
I don't think it's quite as well as this might actually be. Mass Flicker with an Enchantress on the board.
Well, it would have to be one of the enchantresses that works with Constellation, specifically, because, you're not casting anything here.
Yeah, so Citizen Champ and all that, right?
Citizen Champ, Eidolon of Blossoms, I'm forgetting the name of the new one that came out. There's one that only works, it only draws a card when an aura enters the battlefield under your control in green. It's like Tangle something. Skybind effects. Okay, wait, how does Skybind work with this? I did. Okay, hold on. You have piqued my interest. How does Skybind interact here?
Emergency Jason brewing for Vegas.
Okay, so you exile target non-enchantment permanent when it returns to the battlefield under its under control at the beginning of the next end step. So you hit your own creature, exile it. End step, enters the battlefield, puts another thing onto it, choose to exile it again. Trigger all your Constellation effects that you may need, any card draw related to that, any of the ETBs from that creature. Additionally, Skybind just having the tech to be able to remove your opponent's creatures temporarily. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's like in the...
I kind of like that.
Yeah, the Skybind engine's actually really nice. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Okay.
That's why I said emergency Jason brewing before Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the Rite of Harmony. Whenever a creature or enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you draw a card. That's an instant, so, little, but
yeah.
There's... Okay, I guess I must now ask, with Rite of Harmony in the mix, because this is based on ETB, is there any sort of flicker combo that we can be doing that would draw our deck or do something along those lines that we need to be thinking about?
So if we have Citizen Champ or one of those, and we have an Eldrazi Displacer, we can... How do we do this?
We need a lot of mana.
Well, we have a Jaheira out.
Yeah, but you need colorless mana for Displacer.
That's true.
Eldar, another instant flicker creature. Okay. There's definitely something here. Like, Gil-Wayne definitely does some like really cool thing. I will say that I still actually think Elevere is better at just like efficiency. Like you will just kill your opponents with Elevere, whereas Gil-Wayne is gonna twiddle around a fair bit, but it will just accrue enough value that it just overwhelms the opponent eventually. And I think it's sick, and it's a 3-mana commander, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we haven't even talked about the flexibility that these roles offer, right? Because you get to pick between Ward 1, Scrying 1, and Trample. I think you're mostly picking between Ward 1 and Trample, probably. Depending on how slow you're going, Ward 1 will be more important.
So, Panharmonicon, I just get 2 of the rolls. Or I just get the 2 of the same, right?
With Panharmonicon?
Mm-hmm.
No, it triggers an additional time. Just choose one. Hey, yeah, sure. I don't think you have to make the same choice each time. Because it's triggering an additional time. If it was copying the ability, you would have to make the same choice.
They would sack themselves. You can only have 1 roll. Okay.
Yes, you can only have 1 roll. That is true.
Don't know set mechanics. Gonna be real.
You wanted to give an elf that gives sorcery roll for your creatures in your Simic elf deck? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I can see that. That's unfortunate because all like the sorcery roll cards are in blue and white for the most part.
And none of them have the elf creature type on them.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely good.
I think it's a 6 good.
I think it's at least a 6 good. It may be 7 good.
Yeah, and it's pretty close. I couldn't tell you which one it would be.
I'll go ahead and give it the 6 on the safe side of things, because I think it's really close.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little less flexible than Elevere, because it really has specific cards it wants to play with. It also might need.
Kelvin, I completely agree. They need to bring back the 3 set blocks. It was a lot nicer back then.
I don't know. I was personally a huge fan of the 2 set blocks with rotation, only 6 sets in standard at a time, fast rotation.
You know what? That also works. This whole 1 set per plane is not very good, though.
It could be better. I think if they were doing some like unique things and really focusing on their story, it would be great. But they're not focusing on story. They're kind of like just catching a whole bunch of characters. All right, Sir Armont,
Cornerstone Commander.
Thanks. Hey, look at that! It's a signpost uncommon that does very, very little.
Yep.
This is so bad.
2.
I don't need to think on this one. Like, yeah, you got the support you. Well, actually, you don't have the most support you want, buddy. No notes. Proceed.
All right. Yenna.
Don't get bargain or. The heart is. Right until next time we go back to Overdrive, which is probably in half a decade. Yes. Michael, I agree with you. Yenna is a lot of fun. Yenna can be decently strong. I'm not sure I would say like above a 6 level of strong.
I don't know, man. Rule of Law 1, Rule of Law 2.
That, yep, there's where we get to talk about it. All right, so let me just go ahead and see. There are 311 lists for Yenna on EDH Rec. How many are playing Rule of Law? Actual Rule of Law. 5.
Okay, we don't get to talk about it then.
Yeah, we don't get to talk about stacks.
Gonna be real with you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody playing this, not stacks, is playing this deck wrong.
Won't deny, honestly, I think the stacks version of this commander is probably best. Just slow down your opponents, make them play at your speed. It's pretty good at doing that. There's a lot of things I don't like about this commander. Like, yes, you get to make copies of enchantments, and that's pretty good. I don't like that you only get to make one copy of it, and if somebody shouts at me about stickers, I will throw you off a cliff. I don't care about the sticker interaction. It's not good.
You make a Calyx copy.
I mean, yeah. Fair. Like, making a copy of Calyx is legitimate. I love that 20% of these decks are playing Armadillo Cloak.
Good job, Sam!
doing the Lord's work out here, Sam. It's very slow, very mana intensive. We're falling back into the kind of traditional Enchantress shell.
Mm-hmm.
Put one on Park Bleeder for the sticker thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can get stickers in here.
You can. We're not going to.
Yep. Where is Instill Energy? How many people are playing Instill Energy?
Too many.
35%. Not enough, honestly. I think Instill Energy and Nature's Chosen are like two very important cards to play in this deck. Because they're just 1 mana auras that let you untap your commander for free. So you don't have to worry so much about putting a lot of auras in your deck so you get the untap.
Making 3 anointed processions is pretty good.
Won't deny. Green's pretty good at making mana, so I'm not going to say that it's like terribly difficult to get to the two, to have like 4 mana to copy 2 things in a turn. I just don't love it. Because it's still pretty slow. Enchantments are one of the most resilient card types in the game, so I will also give them that. It's slow.
It's slow. That's the only issue with this card.
Which
hence why
really says, go play stacks.
Go play stacks.
Is this good enough to give a 5, or is this...
I think it's
good enough for a 5.
I think it's a 5 normal. And then stacks I'm willing to give like a 6 or a 7.
I'll give it the 6 or 7. I'll go ahead and give it the 6 easy.
Yeah, 6 easy. It's doubling up on stacks pieces. Just so good.
Yep, stacks is only 5 of 311 decks, so yeah. You can have your 10 on your support. That's pretty easy. Your flexibility, I mean, your Enchantress level of flexibility. You're like a 2 or 3 on your flexibility.
Yep.
You actually want very specific enchantments as well, so I'm going to give you a 2 on your flexibility.
I actively think that this is probably a 6, and you're getting drugged. It's 6 on the power, and you're getting drugged down a little bit by...
I disagree with that. I understand that making copies of things is good, but yeah, making 3 anointed processions and a whole bunch of virtues, yeah, that's really, really powerful, and it's a really good thing you can do, but it's going to take a really long time for you to get to that point where you're able to do that. And even then, like, you mentioned 3 white virtues, right? Where are your creatures? We are back to the problem with Enchantress decks not having creatures.
Yeah,
you need to win the game somehow. You can't just value.
It's why Abzan is so good with enchantments now.
Yeah, you actually get to beat the face of people. It helps so much. That was turn 5? Okay.
Right. You know what? Sure.
You got it. Alright, let's jump over to Orzhov here.
Okay.
We still got... How many commanders do we have left, honestly?
Not that
2,
many.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Got 11 more to go. We might need to speed up just a little bit, so we're not too late here. Alright, Ariette. I like what you're trying to do. You're like a 4 to me.
You just don't do things well, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, 4.
Yeah, it's a lot of pieces to make. It honestly might be a 3, but I will give it the benefit of the doubt, and that's just a little bit of love.
Yeah. Also, the artwork on her is just amazing. So.
My golly! You do good work.
Creatures are momentary, value is eternal, Jason.
You say that until you're dead. Never. ETB returns a creature or enchantment from grave to hand on a 4-mana commander. Not the worst.
Not the worst.
Enchantment you control is put into graveyard from the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on her, and scry 1.
Kind of hard to
do. Feels like a 3.
Kind of hard to do in Orzhov. Feels like a 3.
maybe a 2, but I'll give it a 3.
I don't think Idiot has a shot at getting better because everything else just gets better. Like, and we gotta have some major curse support come in, and specifically Orzhov, which it's not normally.
I will give her the credit that I think she can improve. I genuinely think that Ariat can get better because you just need good auras that come with creatures or vice versa to help you win the game, or lock pieces that's like it's hard to remove your opponent's stuff. Granted, that's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Radadropic real quick because we need to talk Radadropic today.
I'm just gonna go ahead and put this number in right there.
I actually somewhat disagree and want to go. I want to say 7.
You want to go 7?
I want to go 7 on Radadropic because I want to talk about. Let's talk about why we're going to make this change. Because previously, as it said in the notes here, on August 27th, I put this note here. Radadropic was previously assessed before Ring Tempting was a mechanic, and that has drastically changed the dynamic of how Radadropic decks play. It needs to be reevaluated. And I have played with multiple versions of Radadropic over and over to try to get a feel for this. Radadropic got Boromir, the 9 Nazgul, Sam Stoupward or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Flash one.
The Flash one. And it got the bad golem that nobody likes to play. The 2-mana golem that ETB, or when it dies, the ring tempts you.
Yep.
It turns out because the ring tempts you, turns the creature into a legendary creature when you do this. Radadropic now suddenly gained 13 creatures it would like to aristocrat with for combo.
Yes.
That it can just kill them, make a token copy, turn the token copy into a legendary, kill it, rinse and repeat. That's not that hard to make work. But you need a sack outlet, a way to benefit from a creature entering the battlefield or dying under your control. You need Radadropic in play, and you need one of those creatures, the majority of which are 3-drops.
Yeah, and that's the actual hard part.
It's still a 4-piece combo that's pretty predictable. Exile-based removal, board wipes still work here. It's not bad, and I can, as you were saying, moving it towards that 8, I actually kind of feel that.
It's really, really close. Because there's just a lot of redundancy in getting to there. Especially whenever you throw 9 of the Nazgul in the deck.
Yeah. So, it's probably need to play with it a little bit more in more casual spheres, but when I was trying to go hard, trying to go turbo with this, I was actually finding that I was if I stumbled on mana even a little bit, I just couldn't win.
Mm-hmm.
And even when I established my creatures, I had a bunch of Nazgul to work with. The Nazgul on their own don't work well in the aristocrat strategy. They're combo pieces that only work with the Radadropic specific aristocrat shell. And that was the other thing that made Radadropic awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since they don't work great with normal aristocrat stuff, it's kind of awkward.
We're going to put it at 7.
Mm-hmm. I think you should be wary of Radadropic, and maybe that is a sign that that Radadropic is in fact an 8. But I think that's going to be one where I am content for now of putting it at a 7.
It's
Alter
no
Dementia
longer
cuts down to 3 pieces. Yes, Alter Dementia does cut it down to 3 pieces, which is a relevant part of this.
It is no longer just this is a cool deck, let them do their thing. It's you actively need to be aware now that hey, if they do their thing, the game is over.
Yeah. So that ups the danger factor. So maybe a 9. Or not 9, maybe an 8. But 7 for now.
Johan, chat.
This is our only Is It commander as well? Neat.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a really cool discussion to be had about Johan here.
All right, let me go pull up the other one here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have Melik rated at a 5/6.
Yep.
And just for reference, so chat can see it, here is Melik.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Johan.
2/4.
Corporate has asked you to distinguish the difference between these two cards.
and the difference is actually a pretty fun conversation here, right? Like, Johan's 4 mana gets to cast a single spell from the top of your deck each turn.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Melik lets you cast any number of them, is 6 mana, but you get to copy any of the spells you cast from the top of your deck. That's some serious power.
That is some serious power, but also 2 extra mana, which ends up mattering a lot in Spellslinger decks.
Yes. Now, Melik does get to, like, Melik really likes that Storm style deck, whereas Johan's actually a little bit more of a little bit slower, trying to take get some value out of its spellslinging. And I think the Storm style spellslinger decks are stronger than the value oriented ones.
Mm-hmm.
But how much is the difference of 2 mana? Melik can't take Amizium's Mortars and survive, and Johan can? Absolutely.
5 toughness on an Is It commander is quite a bit. So
it is actually going to be surprisingly difficult to just clear Johan, and it is worth noting as well that 2/2s are some of the most common creature, like, when it comes to tokens, that's the most common stat line on tokens. 2/2s and 1/1s. Obviously, any commander with more than 1 toughness can eat a 1/1. Johan can actually take a 2/2, and even if it's gotten like +2/+2, right? Which it won't be uncommon. But Johan will get outvalued over time.
Yes.
Whereas Melik can just shut the door on the game. So is this better?
I think it's slightly worse.
It sounds a little bit worse to me.
Yeah. I think it's a 4.
I'd almost go ahead and give it the 5. And just say, it doesn't get better optimized. Because I don't think it does.
Yeah, I could see that.
Put this on par with Aerith. Aerith gets to pop off, but...
Mm-hmm.
Brawling Karzev, Brutaclad's a 4. I don't think this is unreasonable against Brutaclad. Brutaclad takes so much setup.
Yeah.
Avika's a 5. Avika need to be a 6.
Avika needs to be a 6.
Okay. I will give Avika the 6, and I will go ahead and say that Avika is what makes the deck good. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, Robbo. We have changed Avika's rating.
Also, congratulations, Alcus. Both of you.
Yeah, Alcus, Robbo. God, there's so many fucking people who have played Avika on our channel.
Yeah.
In the Discord. Oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Alright, we'll give you the 5s. We give you that 10 on support. I should get decent flexibility. Like, you're probably a little more flexible than Melik.
Probably like, what does Melik?
4?
Yeah, probably a 5.
Alright.
Okay.
I accept this. Okay, Golgari.
We had 1.
Greta Sweet Tooth Scourge, 2.
2. I'll pull it up just so chat can see what, in case they need to be reminded why this card's bad.
Or, well, okay. I guess I should ask, does this matter? Like, the sacrifice of food, you draw a card, lose life, right? I don't think the putting a 1/1 counter on a thing matters too much.
No.
There's gonna be some weird combos you can do where if you assemble, like, Academy Manufacturer, Peregrine Took, and that 3-drop 1 Scurry Oak.
Yep.
That thing that whenever you put a counter on it, you make a 1/1 token.
That's the only time it matters, though.
Yes. When you assemble these 4 3-drops, you can go ahead and make it so that you make an infinite number of clues, and a big Scurry Oak, and an infinite number of 1/1s.
And an infinite number of treasures, because you have Academy Manufacturer.
Well, you have to sacrifice the treasure to make the mana to keep going.
Right. So
you end up not being able to use that.
Yeah.
You get a lot of ETBs from artifacts entering. I still don't feel like this matters much.
No, I don't think it does.
And yeah, I want to give it its just desserts. As to whether or not this is actually doing something that I should be caring about, like the foods, I don't think she's making the food support good. I think the food support enables her, and food support is not that good, especially when we could be playing Absan.
Yeah, this is missing white, which actually is like a huge detriment because Selesnya food is like kind of a thing now. So
yeah, and I'm sitting here thinking as well, like, so good old friend Guillaume, right? At the beginning of your end step, you make a number of food tokens equal to the number of non-token creatures that you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn. That's not easy to do, but you can still get like a food every turn, and then you're tapping down things, doing some stuff. Got your token doublers. And what do we put Guillaume at? We put Guillaume at a 2.
Yeah.
I think Greta deserves her 2, maybe even a 1. No, I'm not going to say she's
a
1.
She's not actively hurting us playing that.
Also, Guillaume, I don't think Guillaume's rating has changed, right?
No.
Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a little more support to a 7 because food support has just gotten that much better.
Yeah.
So then your flexibility sucks, and this sucks. All right.
It's
Boros.
bad, and they should feel bad.
Indeed. All right, so Ash Party Crasher.
Oh, there is another one. I had started to pull up Kellen.
Yeah.
Nope, that is not. That is Aurelia. God, I love Google Sheets sometimes.
Yeah, Google Sheets can be a little annoying that way. Okay, so whenever she attacks, if 2 of our non-land permanents enter the battlefield on your control this turn, you put a 1/1 on her. 2s. This is not easy to do. This is not a very good reward. Honestly, maybe even a 1.
That's a 1. It's too hard.
Yeah, no, that's a lot to do. That's a lot to try to make happen for not much reward.
Yeah.
Turns out you got a good amount of flexibility of making that happen, but the commander is so weak.
Signpost uncommons are not very good commanders normally.
No notes. Proceed to Kellen.
All right, now we actually get to talk about a real commander.
All right, chat. Who has wanted to have an equipment as your commander? Because here is your opportunity.
And then the body it's a living weapon as well, because the body is quite good. It comes with it.
Yeah, 2/2 double striker that other creatures you control get +1/+0 for each war or an equipment attached to Kellen.
Yeah.
That's just a passive buff.
It's quite good.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go out and say that I don't think Kellen is an inherently like super strong commander.
Why are you reviewing Helmet the host? That can't go in the command zone.
I mean, God, Helmet the host with this is actually kind of funny.
I love it.
To add to my Sisay Voltron deck. Interesting. That's actually an interesting thought as to whether or not this is good in the Sisay Voltron deck. Does this say cast? I can't remember.
Shouldn't. I think it's just put.
Yeah, I believe it just puts into play. If it says say cast, then you can actually cast the adventure for free, but it just puts into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, you just put it into play. So, unfortunately, not quite the synergy you want, or the full synergy that you want, but it's overall. Alright, so Kellen's going to be hard to evaluate because the thing is, we kind of just have to sit there and think of, okay, which artifact or which equipment would you like to be your commander this week? Would you like Hammer of Nazan to be your commander?
That's a pretty good one.
How about Sunforger?
That's also a pretty good one.
Skullclave?
That's a pretty good one.
How about a card that most people have forgotten about? Anduril, Flame of the West? There's a 3 mana equipment that for equips for 2, gives +3/+1, and whenever the equipped creature attacks, you create 2 tapped white spirits, and if the creatures that it's equipped to is legendary, those spirits are tapped and attacking instead.
Yeah. No, that sounds good too.
That's my 5 power commander that's swinging and made 2 2/1s
So
to go with it.
Correction to Kelvin. Well, yes, it is Steel Shaper's Gift. It does directly have an actual card, which is Open the Armory.
Yes, direct comparison.
Direct comparison.
And yeah, we haven't even talked about what aura would you like as your commander. Equipment stick around a little better, so.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it until I just saw it looking at the page. The Reaver Cleaver gets to be your commander. On a double striker.
Yeah. That's a fun one. That's a real fun one.
Yeah. So you can do some combo things if you make Reaver Cleaver the thing you're going for. And in all of this can also just be oh wait, I'm just playing Equipment Toolbox.
Yeah. Or I'm just playing Aura's Toolbox.
Also noteworthy that Bladehold War Whip is a card that you get to play. And there's been some conversation about potentially playing this as a replacement to God, why am I blanking on its name? Cole in CDH. Cole has combo loops that you can work with, but this is actually like an equipment strategy that can control, or it's more flexible as opposed to what Cole is doing.
Yeah.
Playing Spy Kid as your commander, that's an interesting one. I'm not sure what that deck looks like, but that's an interesting one. So you just have so many options with this. Like, the flexibility is so high here. Let me go ahead and give the support a 10, and the flexibility is probably an 8.
Yeah.
Like, you are playing auras or equipment, but there's a lot of ways you can turn a deck based on that.
Wow, turns out when you put a tutor in your command zone, the flexibility skyrockets.
Yeah. For casual commander, how good is Kellen?
Probably like a 6 or 7.
I would say 7 sounds right to me, if not an 8.
Well, it still runs into the Voltron trap, is where I'm going to get at with that.
See, that's my thing. I don't think it actually has to fall down the Voltron trap.
Yes, but you're asking Boros equipment players to not play Voltron.
Well, at least you have Double Strike to work with at base on a 3-mana commander. You don't even have to play Birthright Boon. You can just play Kellen.
Yeah, but you're also asking Boros players, when they say Aura and or equipment, to play something other than Voltron.
This is very true. This is I think, okay, 7s. We just call 7s.
7s.
All right.
Poor Gutty. Look, I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying the Boros Voltron players know what they want. This is not a not a shot at them.
And only what they want.
Exactly.
I'll take the shot at them. That's fine. All right, we've only got 6 more commanders to go through.
All right, Goose Mother 2s.
Okay, disagree.
The goose is loose. I'm kidding.
Cameron, I don't think you're in chat at the moment, but you need to be in chat at some point. We talk about this on the podcast. Cameron makes some very good points on how this commander can be played. Honk honk out of 10. Agreed.
Yep.
So you can play this as just a generic food stack, which I think most people are, where you're actually content to cast this on turn 2 and just attempt to make a food every turn to draw an extra card.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that's fine. And you just have a scaling commander. The other thing you can do is you can just play blue-green artifacts, and you have a big mana sink for the Goose Mother, who makes you a bunch of artifacts that can turn into a mana sink with cards like Jaheira and Urza, Lord High Artificer, right?
Yep.
That then in turn make Goose Mother even bigger. The level of scaling here is very interesting. I still need to see more of it.
Dang it, Cameron. You're stealing all of my thoughts I had in my head.
He's done some good work in figuring out, like, there's actually some pretty impressive things you can do here.
I may or may not have had a super secret deck list that I hadn't shown anybody yet. The Goose Mother, that was just Simic artifacts.
I think, how good we thinking here?
In actuality, so this is strictly a Foods Commander's about a 4. Artifacts, just being, like, playing it as a mana sink, probably like a 6 or a 7. Probably a 6.
It seems like people are kind of split on how they're treating, because, like, I'm seeing they are treating it as a Foods Commander, but they're playing a lot of the generic artifact cards. Like, they're playing Shimmer Dragon, they're playing Rise and Shine, and Cyberdrive Awakener. Atrix and Nev are in the deck for doubling stuff. Junk Winder's here. Kappa Cannoneer is here. I'm not 100% sold on Kappa Cannoneer, but nice. Urza. I don't like Varel. That's just me, but people are playing it.
I don't like Varel either.
Thought Monitor. Elusive Otter. Hell yeah.
The Otter.
Play the Otter. This seems just like a fine value deck. Maybe a little bit awkward. Like, Artifacts is just such a potent archetype that adding green doesn't make it worse. I don't know if it makes it much better, because we're kind of trying to restrict ourselves to food. And I think, like, by comparison, Lannis is a better commander.
Yes.
I think Lannis can do very... Actually, I guess while we're here... Hey, Lannis is a 6. Is that a 7?
That's a 7.
Okay, cool.
I wasn't there when we rated Lannis, so... I have a very soft spot for that card. That deck.
Understood. I think Goose Mom hits 5 pretty easily.
Yeah.
Maybe hit 6. Civic value commanders,
I think just playing this is like strictly food. Like I said, is about a 4. And then playing this a little bit more optimized is about a 6.
Yeah. I don't think people are playing this as strictly food. I think they're just like, food's fine, but look at all these random artifacts I can play.
Yeah.
And that's just, it just makes it better.
So 5, 6.
Alright, 5-6 split. I'm cool with that. I'll give you a 9 on the support. I'll just give you a 10 on the support, honestly. It's gotten pretty good at this point. The flexibility's solid. You don't actually have to play dedicated food, but food is good, so 4.
Yep.
And is the support better than the Goose Mom? And it says, is the Goose Mother itself a 4, but the rest of what's happening is making it better?
The Goose Mother itself is a 4. I think I can fairly definitively say that, just because you're playing a lot of the dumb interactive pieces with artifacts.
Yeah. And as was brought up, the support has gotten better. I think it is just still a baseline 4 then. But that's for it itself. Okay. Let's move to Trian, who is a significantly worse commander.
Bad out of 10.
Man, okay, I can't remember the name of this card, but there's like a draft uncommon from like Ravnica Allegiance that was a 3 mana. It's like is it like Gyre Engineer or something like that? A Vidalcan Engineer? I don't remember what it's called. It was 3 taps, adds 2 mana, use it on anything, right? This is close to what it is. So this is an important thing to point out, because he talks about, this commander talks about Ravnica. This commander is from Ravnica. It's just on this plane because it went through an Omen Gate. Or Omen Path. I'm just going to defend my boy Troyan. You might need to. I don't think Troyan's good. That's the problem.
Might need to, Ethan.
Like, we can't do a lot of the combos that you would want to do with this commander. So it's pretty hard. You got to get a 5 mana value or X spells.
Yeah.
And specifically, it is spells with X in their cost. You cannot spend this on activated abilities.
Yep, which makes it even more awkward.
So this is just, it's another one of these commanders that's just in big X spell things, right? This is nowhere near Zexara. Zexara is good.
Yeah.
This is honestly a pretty weak Simic commander, all things considered. Even just casting big dumb spells does not really redeem what's happening here too much. I kind of want to put it at a 3. Maybe a 2.
I want to put a 3, just because it does ask you to play big dumb. So it is big dumb simic spells.
Yeah, I'm going to say that its personal power, what it's contributing here, it's a 2. It's not the thing making the deck good, it's just the cards in the deck, and it kind of supports them.
Ethan, your argument of it being simic is not good enough for that.
I think it can join the party of other 3s right next to it, like Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Yeah, we're going to see more just commander or characters from different planes popping up on random planes here.
Mm-hmm.
So, Simic, Vidalcan, Scout. Yeah, the Scout part of it really sells it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, we have fun 3-color commanders to talk about.
Esper? No.
We can start on Jund.
Oh yeah! Hey guys, we fixed Corvald this time.
We made it fair, and, like, actually fair.
Yeah, but turns out fair Corvald is still pretty good.
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty much where I go with it.
He got fat.
He got fat. That's good.
What an excellent line of...
He got fat. Uro goes to Ikoria and gets obliterated. How about this? Uro goes to Ikoria and becomes a new Apex. Because it just mutates with something.
Yeah. He a chunky lad now.
Who's ready for, our elder giant beast elemental nonsense that goes on over there?
All right.
So how we feel about Fat Corvold?
Fat Corvold, still probably leaning on the 7-ish range.
I think it's a little hard to set up sometimes. It does do a pretty good job of the hard punchies.
But once again, it's asking you to play generic Jund cards.
It is just asking for some generic Jund. It is asking you to sacrifice a lot of different permanent types in a single turn, which is a little difficult. Not the worst.
It's not that hard.
No, it's not too terribly hard. It just wants you to do, like, if you can sacrifice an artifact creature or an enchantment creature,
mm-hmm.
You get 2 types just that way. I realistically view Corvold as about being a 5-drop. And a 5-drop that swings and draws 3 cards the turn it attacks, which probably happens, honestly, on turn 5. There is enough setup here that I don't think Corvold comes down super fast too often.
Mm-hmm.
Dreamy's new pet. Oh, poor Uro. Especially because sacrificing the thing might not be free, right? Like, sacrificing a Haywire Might is not free. It costs a mana.
Yeah.
And it's very fair. I can see the 7. I do lean a little more towards the 6, but I will absolutely I'm happy to give it a 7.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I think you're still displaying enough generic Jund good stuff cards that you get to be a 7. Right.
Mm-hmm. Chat, let us know if you have any objections to our ratings. Reminder, we love feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fair. Let me know if I'm smoking crack for thinking that this maybe deserves to be a 6 and not a 7. We good to move on to Bant with Bernard?
Bernard.
It is not Bernard, it's Bernard.
Bernard.
Okay, this is one of those commanders. I've taken a couple cracks at this one, just a little bit here and there.
0, because his name isn't the Muffin Man. True.
Right. Objecting to Rex's grading? Alright, do we need to reaffirm Rex Nebula's grading real quick?
What do we have it at, Jason?
Let me see.
Is it a 4?
Captain Rex Nebula, we have as a 4-5 split.
Yep.
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 Yep. You're welcome. Back to Bant. Alright, so Bernard. Our Ginger Sculptor here. Ginger Sculptor, not the Muffin Man. You know what? That is also true. Maybe he does not deserve to be Muffin Man. we will see in due time. So I've taken a few cracks at this commander and just playing it as like a typical Aristocrats deck. It's actually not that good as an Aristocrats deck, just because we have to exile to make the token copy. If we didn't have to exile to make the token copy, we were in good work. Price in Spanish.
But Jason, have I introduced you to these cards called Splicers?
I love that we have a Splicers commander. We have a Bant Splicers commander. Love that. Absolutely happy that we have this. Good on you, my Splicer friends. Not sure how many of these you actually need to play consistently in like an optimal build of Renard.
We're playing all of them, Jason.
I'm sure. That's what most people are doing. People saw Golem and said, it's my time to shine.
Finally, a deck I can get behind.
One of the people on our channel has actually started working on this. I helped with their deck as well. It was just kind of like generic ETB value stuff. You know, playing like invoke creatures for value gains. That's really nice.
Wait, 8 Mole Drifter cards?
Yes, all the Mole Drifters. It's solid. Like, just you can also just play this as an ETB deck where if your creature dies, you're just like, neat. I'll make a food.
I like doubling the Steve.
Yes, Bernard has single-handedly caused Nesting Dovehawk to go from like $3 to 15 to 20.
I love it.
Nesting Dovehawk, real good in this deck. The Triniforms, because they are more golems, neat. There are so many golems being played in this deck.
Triplicate Titan, baby.
I think we could just Bernard feels like an average deck to me.
Yeah, it's 5.
It feels like 5s to me. It's pretty good. I like what it's doing.
It's fun. That's the important part. It is
very fun. I'm gonna give it the 9 on the support because it is lacking a little bit on that aristocrat shell of things, but it's still good overall. It's got really nice flexibility. You wouldn't see that because everyone's just playing golems, but the flexibility is actually there. Are there any threatens at all in Bant? Let me just double check the wording here just to be 100% sure. Another creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, great token. There's not. I mean, there are threatens. They're not very good. You just have general mind control effects usually. So you're talking usually 4 mana effects to do this, and that's okay. If you have a sack outlet, that does some cool stuff. Ooh, Birthing Pod. That's a fun one here. That's a really fun one.
Birthing Pod. It's a pretty good one there.
Oh, that's sick. I love that. You have the apple. That's true. We do have the apple to work with. All right. Last one
is Teamer.
Wow,
we have
Luna Grand Squall.
Look, guys, we added another Teamer commander finally.
We actually have been a little bit black commanders. We could use one more here.
I love this card.
Winter Chicken. Yes, Robbo, congratulations on having your deck showcased on the channel.
I love this card.
I think, okay, I'm a little bit awkward on Luna. I think she's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how good she is specifically, as much as just the Teamer adventures have gotten so much better. Because they have gotten a lot better with these multicolored ones. When the video, so instant 10. Spoilers, yeah.
There we go. I put a note that gives exactly what my thoughts are.
Once again.
I love that. There you go.
The adventures have gotten a lot better.
Yes.
They're more versatile. I didn't think too much of the ones that we got added in the
Baldur's Gate.
Commander Ledger Baldur's Gate, right? Baldur's Gate did not have that many adventures that I care for, but they did give us some things like, we have counter spells on adventures. We have tap down effects.
We have a green counter spell on adventures.
Yep. This is, once again, with Teamer Adventures really highlights the need for massive amounts of mana.
Yes.
Also, yes, play the otter. Play the otter.
Play it.
It's actually solid in the deck too. It's genuinely not bad.
Mhm.
It's just such a high mana value. You need so much mana to make this function. It's just you're grinding out value. Baluna is just more value on top of value, and a little bit of mana on top of value. Not great.
Yeah, it needs a lot of mana to function.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't actually cast the adventure part of this that often.
Baldur's Gate gave some of the best meh adventures. True.
Is she better than Gorion?
Hey, Gorion, we're going to talk about him too. Because we do need to bring him up.
Yeah, we have to bring him up.
Yep.
I think she's slightly better, only because of this line, the cost reduction here.
So that's the funny thing. I'm so close on whether or not which of them is actually better.
Because, okay, so my thoughts are, most of the time, the adventure sides are pretty overcosted spells, and even if you get 2 of them, they're still not great. And then the creatures that they're attached to are usually like 1 mana too much. So this just brings it back down to being normal creatures.
Yeah. I think it's fair. And the other thing is a really nice benefit here in talking about the red ones specifically. We're getting Wild Magic Sorcerer to give all of those, or that first spell we cast from Exile, Cascade, and with Baluna reducing the cost, that's really nice. We're getting Faldorn to go wide, discard some cards, get a different type of card advantage going. We just have damage, like, we just have ways of splitting damage for a reasonable cost. It's not great, but it's solid. You get stuff like Malfeshni, which I don't really like Malfeshni, but
yeah.
Keeper of Secrets, Passionate Archaeologist, all the Gutter Snipe effects. I don't think Gutter Snipe is really where we want to be. I think that's really that's like one of the worst things we could be doing with these, right? Like, trying to really build around the instance and sorcery side of things.
I do like just throwing the random young Peasy in the deck, though. Since all of our cards are instances.
If you're going to do that, you might as well play the blue-red version of Young Pyromancer, or whatever that thing's called.
Yeah, but throw at least one of those in there. I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah, and red also getting treasure support, so your mana production is better. You get Dockside.
Yep.
That said, what Baluna does versus Gorion, I think Gorion itself is the stronger card, but maybe Temur Adventures is the stronger deck.
Yes.
I think that's a fair assessment.
That's a pretty fair assessment.
4 on Baluna?
4.
I think that's fair. Can we bump up Bergamos and Fibbletip to a 5? Actually, do we want to bump that to a 5?
No.
We leave that there. Okay, cool.
Well,
at least we have confirmed a date for when we said, yeah, no, that stays where it goes.
I'm leaving that note, by the way, Jason. That's
fine by me. Flexibility's still not good, and honestly, she is not the reason her deck's good.
Yeah.
The support's good enough. That said, now let's go back to Gorion. Back in Bant for a second. I think Gorion, honestly, we got a 4 for Baluna. Has Gorion jumped up to a 4? Like, the support's jumped up, but it's still worse than...
I think he's actually jumped up to a 3, not a 4.
Gets up to a 3 at least. I think that's fair. We got a little more flexibility here. September 17th update.
I think Gorion is
much more... Adventures with Kess and not Hello. I mean, I don't think that's better than just playing normal of either of those decks, but you have intrigued me.
Yeah, I think Gorion is definitely the more fun Adventures commander, right? But I think Temur base is just better than Bant for it. So,
talking about Pia tokens and commander, yeah. None of these give us red-white, which is a little bit unfortunate, actually, because of the cast from Exile support there. It actually would be pretty nice to have a Naya's Adventures commander. We can all just agree that we don't need black for casting adventure spells. The black adventure spells are just not that good.
The Adventure Exile bypasses the Exile clause on Flashback. It does. Actually does.
No, that's true.
Huh.
Yep. No, it's both going to exile one way or another, so that does help. And you can, in fact, flashback adventure spells. Like, you can play, what was the name? Lier?
Yep.
The one that just gives all of your things flashback in your graveyard. Like, she works with this. She works with petty theft and things like that. Oh, wait, actually, we have one more commander to talk about.
Uh-oh. What did we
We
forget?
forgot about our colorless friend.
Oh, yeah. Right.
We got Surge
forget?
Ginger.
10 out of 10 in our heart.
Absolute 10 out of 10 in the heart here. Okay, this perhaps might be a minorly hot take.
It's better than people think it is?
This might be our best colorless commander. And it's like the third time this year I've said this.
Eventually, Jason.
Eventually it's gonna stop.
I think that is a hot take, for sure. All caps from Ethan.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so Ethan talks about this on the podcast some more. Hi again, Ethan. So the scry ability is very useful for being able to churn through your deck some. Realistically, I think the important thing to talk about is just artifacts that self-sacrifice. There's a lot of them. So
Yes.
they all convert into +1/+1s. You're able to scry through your deck a little bit. You're able to apply pressure very early. Like, colorless decks are playing Soul Ring and you're casting your commander, or all sorts of different mana rocks that they can do to get things going faster. And the interaction that you have here with God, why am I blanking on its stupid name? Arcbound Ravager. Like, you get to put a lot of counters on this thing, and then move counters over there. You need one source of trample, or not being stopped easily, I should say. And you can go through your artifact sack loops that you're already doing and just making them better, while still providing you something that also can get you a massive amount of life if you need it. Love the extended art.
I want to get an extended art foil so bad.
Ethan, nothing is stopping you from getting in here.
Yep.
Somebody who knows these interactions a little bit better than me, please feel free. That said, I don't think it's like a 6. I think it's just another 5. It just ekes out the win over something like Philodoc that needs a lot of things to go right. Karn, who works very quickly.
I think Zoldoc has a higher ceiling than Surginger.
Hello, Ethan. How are you?
As soon as it said, screw it, get on, I immediately got my headset on. All right, we're still on Sir Ginger because I'm not sure how the latency was.
We are
we're still on
Surginger.
Okay.
You probably just missed this. I don't think it's higher than a 5. I think it's another 5. It's just the best artifact commander, or the best colorless commander still.
Yeah. The card advantage on the commander, I think, is extremely powerful. I think we can't forget that colorless does not get anything. The sack synergies you get with you mentioned Arcbound Ravager. There's a lot of artifact like KCI in this, and Mystic Forge. That's just fun, right? It's not necessarily good, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about colorless commanders, where we are still much more in the fun, not good category of things.
Yeah. Yes, this is the closest one. The incremental life gain, or the incidental life gain, I think is also very impactful. You mentioned that, Jason. I know it wasn't I didn't say a whole lot on it on the podcast whenever we talked about it the other day, but I think this thing's awesome. The first line of text doesn't really matter unless you're playing against an Atraxa player. Old Atraxa.
I will give the credit that at least Commodore Guff is everywhere right now. So
that's fair.
Yep.
For a couple weeks, that first line of text is relevant.
That is extremely relevant.
But
Are you saying this card's be a 4 here in a month? Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
No. I still think it's a 5 without that line of text.
Yeah.
I think just another artifact you control is put into the graveyard from the battlefield. Put a counter on her. Scry 1. All you
That
need.
Scry 1 though is so good. Like, I know it sounds like nothing, but I've noticed WotC putting a lot of Scry 1 on incidental thing on Commander, and it's made a lot more strategies reasonable.
Yes. Yeah, and yeah, we got Kelvin in here talking about like KCI with Wormcoil Engine and Nim Death Mantle, right? Like, yeah, this makes the artifact combos you were already doing better and gives you more options to play with artifact creatures that you weren't able to play with before because the 1/1 counter synergy wasn't there. Now you at least have a commander who wants those 1/1 counters. It doesn't really improve them as much as it is a way to utilize what is that existing support that you weren't playing with and turn it into something better. And there's a lot of artifact sack outlets. Like just playing Scrapyard Recombiner.
It also cares about modular. Oh man. Oh
yeah. Yeah. Like
so, I'm brewing this after we get back from Vegas, right?
Absolutely, go for it.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think it is unreasonable for Ginger to be trying to kill an opponent, one player, right, in a semi-Voltron-ish way on turn 5, where you're going turn 2, you play Sir Ginger, turn 3, you start churning through your deck. Turn 4, or you get your first hit with your opponent on turn 3, and you did say like 6. You did 5 or 6 damage. Then the following turn, now we're talking 7, 8. And on the following turn, now we're at like 12, 15 damage out of Sir Ginger. Right? And you still need to systematically try to kill your opponents here, and they're aware of what you're doing. You have no good ways of protecting your Sir Ginger. Like, real talk, like...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something sassy to say in response to that, but I don't.
Slap one commander plate on it. And
that does a lot of work, though.
It does, actually. And we did just get another piece of equipment that gives your commander indestructible, so long as it's legendary and free equips to Mithril Coat.
That's right.
We also have Agatha's Soul Cauldron to work with, which is...
Oh, that... Jason, ever since you mentioned that in the podcast the other day, I have seen that pop up everywhere.
Because it's just...
It's insane.
It randomly just does enough in so many shells.
Yeah.
It does so much good work. I'm a big fan of what Sir Ginger is doing, and I legitimately think, like all things considered, it is deserving of a 5. I'm still saying this is an average deck.
Yep.
I will give you average. I think a 5 is well deserved. I don't think it's a 6 optimized. I don't think it's much more than a 5 either.
That's what I was saying. I think Zuladoc has the highest highs out of all of the colorless commanders. So
yeah, then that maybe is an argument that Zuladoc is still the strongest of the colorless commanders.
So one gets to play a bunch of crappy eggs. The other gets to play Metalwork Colossus, and it'd be good. My heart is torn in half currently. Yeah,
I'm also going to say I do think that the support for Sir Ginger is much better than any other commander.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll give you that.
Like I'm still saying 8 on the support. But it's there. I'm also going to bump up. I'm going to bump up Urza's to 6, or not Urza's. Liberator. Bump up that support just a little bit more. I don't think Liberator's changed, but
I think the influx of colorless things that let you cast colorless spells with flash has given you enough redundancy to help kind of make that strategy a little bit better as well. And we've seen that with CDH. They've gotten a lot more Shimmer effects because the cicada, skittering cicada. Is that the new one from the Eldrazi precon?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's something like that. Having more redundancy so that you're not getting completely blown out every time your commander gets hit. Like you having backups is pretty reasonable. I think that maybe if you're trying to do the flash speed stuff, Liberator's a little bit better because of that card specifically.
Absolutely.
And then you said, let me find that on the spreadsheet. You said 3 for flexibility. Yeah. Power. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's good. I don't think I have anything else. Are there any other commanders that have significantly changed? Do we need to be looking at any of our... there may be like... Is there a Selesnya Enchantress deck that we might need to look at?
What do we have Sithis ranked at? I'm curious. I don't know the spreadsheet pulled up right now. What is Sithis?
Oh, Sithis? She's a 9.
Yeah, okay. That ain't changing.
Yeah, no, I don't think Sithis is changing. I think she is by far, like, she's a really good Enchantress commander. She is At 2 mana, she can just outvalue your opponent.
Yeah, she just does.
Yeah.
She's very linear too. You don't have to think too hard on how to play set this.
Nope.
So
Yeah, I don't think there is anymore
Mhm.
that I can think of off the top of my head.
yeah, let's see. I still need to work on Samwise to see whether or not he's above an average deck.
Oh, do we want to
Um,
talk about Zada?
Zada, yes, we
talking
need to
about-
talk about Zada.
We're talking about Zada here? Okay, I'm instantly even more intrigued. Where are we
Okay.
talking about my boy?
So, girl.
Oh,
Your
my
girl.
bad.
So we currently have Zada as a 3/7 split. And yeah, our note here is there are huge asks for Zada to win, but the payoffs is a storm comparable to Bergie and arguably better than Rionia, right?
That hurts, but I can't really argue against it currently.
It can get there. The big thing is we've actually seen a huge change in things that help Zada specifically. In recent memory, we have gotten Witch's Mark, which is 2 mana sorcery. You may discard a card. If you do draw a card, create a Wicked Roll token attached to up to 1 target creature you control. And this is on resolution as opposed on cast, so you don't even have to risk anything here. We get Flick a coin. For 3 mana, deal 1 damage to any target. You create a treasure, draw a card. We get Monstrous Rage. For target creature gets +2/+0, and you can create a monster roll token. I think this is the weakest of the cards mentioned so far, but it is something. It's only 1 mana.
We also get that new mono red commander as well.
We get the new mono red commander, which is helpful. We get Song of Totemtans. So, that's another red fireball that makes creatures. And it gives all of your creatures haste until end of turn.
Yeah.
And that's
also that's
that's
the
just
worst
from
one on
this
the new
set.
set. That's the worst one on that set. Still a Scry 1 and a buff and first strike. That's 5 cards for this deck in one set.
I don't think Kindled Heroism makes it. I think that one probably shouldn't be played.
It is a budget. Well, granted, this deck's already budget anyway.
Yeah,
But
this deck's
Yeah,
really
like I
budget
said,
friendly.
This
Yeah.
deck is budget.
next budget deck we're doing, I think I want to
Yeah.
call
I don't
Zada.
thi- we haven't even talked about some of the other updates that it's gotten recently. For example, it got Blazing Crescendo in All We Won.
Mhm.
Yep.
I have that card on my desk waiting to be put in a Zada deck. You're making me get closer and closer to that.
Stormkill Artist was around when we did the initial rating, so that hasn't really changed. There's maybe 1 or 2 other instance of sorceries that have made Zada a bit better that need to consider. I gotta look through here quickly to see. But so far, trying to play Endless Dungeon. All right. See you, Kelvin. Have fun with that.
See ya,
I don't know
Kelvin.
what that is, but have fun with it. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I don't think Antagonize is that big of a deal from New Capenna, giving +4/+3 until end of turn for 2 mana. That's pretty good though. That does actually kill people, which is good.
Yeah.
What else have we gotten here that we might need? Academic Dispute, that's been around. That's not a new one. Oh, we got Rowell's Reinforcements and the Battle of the Hornbug, where you make 2 1/1 humans with haste.
Was Ancestral Anger around when we started doing this? Wait, when was Val again? That was 2021?
Ancestral Angle would have been around at that time.
Yep.
Good lord, time's moving too fast.
I think there's
Urbrask got printed.
That's
Urbrask
true.
did get
Urbrask did get printed. That's something for consideration.
Airborne Flamesmith just got printed recently. That's a 2 mana and it's another Firebrand Archer. I'm not sure if that's really something you want to do in the strategy, but it's a really redundancy if you go that direction.
Yeah, Firebrand Archer is just generally something that
Moria Marauder is another if you're doing more like Goblin typal kind of stuff.
They also got Fire Inscription. I don't think Fire Inscription.
I mean,
I don't think it matters that much, but
playable.
What, City on Fire?
City on Fire.
Oh, City on Fire is dope. Yeah, that's a good one.
The asks are still very high with Zada. That's not changing.
Yeah, but I think we can now call Zada at baseline a 4 or 5.
I think baseline's 5, optimized 8.
I'll go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really twisted my arm on that one.
Yeah, I think the support has kicked itself up to a 9, and again, I don't think Zada is. Maybe not. I don't know. Has Zada's power changed enough, or has the support changed enough to make Zada good?
I think the support has changed enough. I think Zada's the exact same power.
Speaking of power, display of power is also ridiculous.
Yep.
That's amazing. It's copy any number of target instance of sorceries on the stack. Choose the target.
Okay.
So that 3 mana double up everything on the stack, right?
Okay.
Double up all your copies. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Zada's got nuts.
Yep.
Zada's just straight up just gone nuts.
I'm scrolling down still trying to find anything new.
I legitimately think Witch's Mark and Flick a Coin were enough to bump it up to a 5, but
oh, there's the new Rally, the Hornboard. Did you mention?
Yeah, I mentioned that one.
Yep.
I feel like as soon as I started, but it's Rally. I think it's correct.
Gleeful Demolition technically could also be useful here if you just destroy your own thing.
You just destroy your artifact creature, right?
You can destroy artifact creature, just destroy your artifact.
No. I mean, for Zada to copy it, it would require artifact creatures.
it has to be a creature.
Well, that's just, it makes goblin dudes. It just helps you build a board really quick. I'm not saying like as a copy of that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because you are playing a bunch of effects that are.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable assessment. That's probably good enough.
Yeah.
This deck just keeps on getting more and more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, every time they build a draft common, it's like, I guess it's
Zada is the draft common commander. So.
And this is your goblin slide deck, so Logan, may he rest in peace in his bed tonight. Very happy about that one.
True. Also, one of the things I'm thinking about is if we do another like PEDH video, Zada
dibs.
Yeah, we might need to look at Zada and PEDH.
Yeah, dibs.
It's just does so many absurd things.
Yes, I love how the two best cards from Evolvable Drain for this deck were commons compared to the rare and the uncommon. Because Witch's Mark and Flick a Coin are both common.
Hey, I'll still say that Song of Totentans is actually a really, really important piece of this deck, but particularly Witch's Mark. I think Flick a Coin is a little more questionable because you just don't up your toughness that much in these decks.
I think the mana production and the card draw there is worth killing your board for. Maybe I'm upset. High risk, high reward. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's if you're sitting there going like, oh, well, I'll spend 3 mana to make 20 treasures.
And draw 20 cards. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know what? You can probably find your Firecat Blitz or your Song of Totentans to turn that into winning the game. So, I agree. There's probably a way to where it just becomes worth it to flick a coin and just obliterate your board.
I can't wait to find out what that is.
Now, here's a real question, though. Do we have an upper limit on Zada still?
Yes.
Like I don't think Zada can go past an 8. You would have to do something like make like an insane efficiency rate on making creatures for Zada to suddenly go higher.
I think 8 is probably still that sounds fair to me. I think that's your upper bound.
Yeah. Because it's still a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces to make Zada work. But yeah.
When you get there,
you will just win. Alright. I think I am ready to call it a night. I have no more to say on any commander at the moment.
I think I'm also ready to call it a night.
I think I'm ready to go to bed.
Same. Alright. Chat, thank you all very much for joining us once again. This is Smooth Brain EDH. You watch all of our videos on Saturdays. I'm sure you do. Thank you again for checking out with us. Join our Discord if you'd like to talk to us directly. You can support us on Patreon if you want to give us money. We appreciate that a lot. But specifically, because you're here for a Zur Scale stream, if you want to talk Zur Scale, we have a chat specifically for that on our Discord. So please feel free to join us. It is in the description below.
Also, remember, if you are here and you have not liked the stream, if you enjoyed the content of the stream, remember to give the stream a like. It really helps us out.
Absolutely. Give us a like, subscribe, all that. Seriously, it helps us a ton. And we appreciate you all for being here. So, thank you all very much. I'm Jason with Matt and now Ethan. Y'all have a great night.